And welcome back to the Pinnacle Cup as we look towards our final couple of matches of the entire tournament. We've seen one of our semi-finalists move forward towards the grand finals in Endpoint in a bit of a best-of-3 bonanza against the Sinners side. To make a very interesting match to open up the day. And now as we look towards our second semi-final, we could be already seeing who the winners of the tournament will be as we look towards Spirit, who will be taking on the big boys of forZe. I'm the Eternal J. I'm joined by Dwayne, of course, for this best-of-3 action. I guess you could say this Tier 2 CIS El Clasico here in this particular matchup, Dwayne.
We had a taster a little bit in that last one. Bit of an entree, but now this is where it kicks in. CIS Derby, Spirit versus forZe. This is a matchup that we see so often, and for so long have we seen head-to-heads between these teams. It's the perfect game for the semi-finals.
Absolutely it is, and I look forward to see how well these guys are going to be able to hold their own, because it feels like to me that this match has always gone back and forth, and to their credit, to the Spirit side, they have usually been the one to take over the main manner of control, because in terms of history between the two cores, it's 7-3 in best of threes and 19-13 in maps themselves to the favor of the Spirit squad. So coming into this, history is on their side, but the last best of 3 they had was a couple months ago, and that was won out by forZe. So I look forward to being able to hold their own, or seeing how they're going to be able to hold their own at this particular stage. So forZe is the team I want to focus on the most here, Dwight, because I feel like they're a team that aren't really playing in every single tournament we see. You know, they're not like grinding it out like a lot of the other tier 2 teams end up playing.
Yeah, they're one of those where maybe they don't need to. The results are coming, so we don't need to play in every single event possible. They've got some victories under their belt. They're a consistent playoff performer, and it seems that all it took was a couple of changes. We know for a very, very long time, it was Power and FaceCracker part of this lineup. We saw both of those guys departing. They bring in Kenzie and Zorti, and yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a rocky 2, 3, 4 week period. But after they got into the lineup, it seemed like all the results started coming back again.
Absolutely, and Kenzie and Zorti are the guys, I want to say, for this particular roster. Like, they have been absolutely fantastic. They've been stellar portions, and I'm really like a big fan of how they played in context of how things have worked out for the forZe side. Just because like it feels like the addition was so perfect, and it really was what catapulted them to their success. Their success, however, hasn't quite been at the tier 1 or the tier 2 level for that matter. They've still been playing in some lower level tournaments, you know, that have been doing all right in ESCA Premier. They had a run to Republic. They won one of the Spring Cups, which to their credit is actually a pretty big tournament. But outside of that, like, they're still sort of like being a little bit absent when it comes to playing the major leagues in tier 2.
I disagree, to be honest. Like, yeah, maybe they're not playing in as many events, but they're still getting the placements, right? And I think that's the important thing. If you're getting the high placements and you're getting the deep runs, then you could be happy with the success coming through. forZe probably realized to themselves, well, we don't want to just burn ourselves silly like a Skade or an Entropic are, where we're just playing 200 maps in the last 3 months. What are we gaining out of that? We want more consistency. We want to have deeper runs rather than playing in every absolute tournament we can do.
Well, definitely, consistency has favoured the forZe side. Again, they've made a number of top 8s. I don't think they've had an outside of top 8 performance for the last 3 months at all. So I'm definitely looking forward to them to see if they can channel that consistency against a team that have definitively broken away from the tier 2 space that forZe are competing in. Spirit were always the team that forZe came up trumps against in their tournament runs. But now Spirit are broken away. Again, they're a tier 1 team at this stage, Dwayne. And I feel like coming into this match by default, because of that, they will be the favourites in this match.
Yeah, for sure. They've been at tier 1 for a while now. They've kind of got out of the pits as such, because it's one of those moves that it's not easy. To go from tier 2 to tier 1, it's a big leap. And for Spirit, they've been there for a couple of years now. They kind of dip their toes in some of these lower events every now and then. And I guess one of the big positive notes, at least in this best of 3 today, is, well, Dexter, he's returning because he didn't play yesterday.
Yeah, Patsy was standing in for him. He was sick because of the vaccine, according to sources. So not ideal, I don't think, for their own right. But they still were able to make it through that matchup in yesterday's performance. So now with them being involved, it feels like it's the right time for Dexter to return to the roster, because while there was potential for Patsy to really hinder the Spirit side in yesterday's match, and definitely a bigger chance to hinder them here against one of their main rivals, for Dexter to be involved in the team again, like, it does add a bit more of a positive spin here to Spirit's campaign.
Yeah, it does. Just in, not even in terms of like the firepower advantage, but just in terms of just the setups, being able to fill in the gaps. It would have been difficult for Patsy yesterday, but I'll tell you, some of the individuals, even in that game against Fiend, Magic's looked incredible. SDY on the main AWP actually was hitting a lot of shots. We saw Mir getting really involved, especially on that first map of Mirage. So I guess for Spirit, if we know what they were like yesterday, can we expect an even stronger and maybe a more fierce Spirit coming in today?
It's possible, and I'd say it's pretty likely, honestly. Again, I'm a big fan of how SDY was playing on that or AWP. You mentioned him for good reason because he was probably one of my MVP picks, but Magix himself could also be another one there. So, like, the fact that those two are popping off, I mean, Dexter's going to take back the AWP role, but I look towards this and I see if I want to put a secondary AWP in play, then why not use SDY for it, depending on how he feels for it, because, again, he had such a great series yesterday with the big green in his hand. So having that dynamic duo involved could be interesting for a couple of double AWP maps like a Dust 2, for example. But I do look towards Spirit, and with the addition of Dexter now back in the roster and in the server, I look at them and I feel like again, where there might have been doubts coming into this match of whether or not he's going to play. Now that he is confirmed to be playing, I want to sort of make a prediction, a very early prediction to the favor of Spirit in this.
Again, you've got to imagine, though, for Spirit, they need to bring their A game. Yeah, they took Fiend down yesterday, but forZe are another beast. Like, these guys work hard, they get really deep runs, and they're a solid team. So for Spirit, if they come into this and say, Dexter's back, we can kind of sit back a little bit, don't need to really get hungry into this, they could get slapped around. So you've got to imagine that for Spirit, if they want to win this series, they have to bring their A game today.
Absolutely they do. Like, there's no sense in sleeping on forZe, even though they might be the underdogs in this matchup. Definitely want to be focusing on them to be the big rivals, I guess you could say. This arguably could be the matchup that gets them into the tournament victory, because taking on Endpoint, I feel like that's not even the harder challenge for these two particular squads. This will be against each other. That will be the biggest difficulty for their own right. So all important. It's going to start from the map vetoes, where the importance is really going to get towards this one twig now. Because of this storied rivalry, the cause have played pretty much every single map we've ever had in the pool ever since 2019. In Cobblestone might be out of that, for example, but in terms of the maps like Inferno, Dust 2, Trains, Overpasses, they should all be sort of like having some level of a result to pull from history. So we'll kind of break this one down as it goes, but in terms of initial thoughts, where do you think we're going to lean to?
Overpass has got to come through, probably for Spirit. It actually gets picked in for Dust 2. We know that they're a decent Dust 2 team. This now opens up an opportunity for an Ancient. We know that for forZe, they don't mind picking into Ancient every now and then. It's certainly not picked a massive amount. And Overpass is a finale. I think that's a really good way to go. Both teams are strong on this map. Ancient's one of those where even for Spirit, we've seen that it was floated as map 3 up against Fiend. Didn't get an opportunity to go to map 3 in that series. So we actually didn't get to see them on Ancient yesterday.
No, and that's a curious one, because I see a lot of teams sort of like trying to pick into Ancient to use it as a curveball, and definitely forZe have been a bit more liberal when it comes to playing in this particular map. They've played it 9 times in the last few months, ever since it was introduced into the map pool. So they had some good results on it in the past as well. They beat Mad Lions, they beat Entropic, which I think Entropic is a massive team to sort of beat out. Yes, they have lost to the tier 1 squads, but in general, when it comes to tier 2 opposition, they do pretty well on it. So I'm curious to see how well this one will go for them, because I've yet to see forZe play on an Ancient map, like in terms of like an actual like server performance here.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a little bit of a punish pick too. We know that for Spirit, they don't play it a massive amount. They've only won it once. So for them, knowing, okay, maybe Ancient isn't the strongest map in the map pool from forZe, we're comfortable on it. We've picked into it. We know that we've played it a fair bit. Let's just put it in as a punish pick.
Yeah, and we'll see how far they can go in that particular respect. I do feel like there's a slight advantage for the Spirit side, because as you mentioned, there's a couple of maps here that both teams are really good at, particularly that Overpass, which for the Spirit side, we know that they've had a really great win rate on it in the past. It's not been one of their highest profile maps, but also having that Dust 2 in there, like, it looks to me that they've come out slightly stronger here.
Yeah, again, though, it is always one of those with the derbies that you're going to get similar map pools, and for both forZe and Spirit, they have similar map pools that is. So you can almost always say you're never going to get a weak map for either team in map 3. It's always going to be a strong one. It's always going to be something that feels decent. So in terms of the veto, I don't want to say it's straight down the middle, but it is pretty even for me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I see where you come forward with that, especially when you consider the third map of Overpass. But the issue and the thing that sort of separates for me is the fact that, again, you take a look at the teams these two teams are playing. And even though Spirit are not making deep runs in S-tier tournaments, they're still playing S-tier and A-tier competition. So to me, I see them with a slight edge in that respect. And even though the map veto might be straight down the middle or thereabouts, I still feel like they've got a couple of really strong maps here, and they've also got the caliber to back it up as well.
Yeah, another kind of conversation starter. Who's more hungry? We know that for forZe, they've just come off a big winning streak. We know that they've just won an event. What more would they like to do than getting towards a grand finals? And you're probably right about this. This is probably a little bit more of a tougher matchup than the grand final might even be against Endpoint. So you've got to take it one game at a time. I want to say that forZe coming into this series, it means more to them to be able to get the tournament victory.
Also got to remember, though, however, is that Spirit, they just come off the back of Cologne, and they would have loved to go deep in another IEM Masters Championship. They did that over in Katowice, so coming into Cologne, they had a lot on their plate and a lot that they wanted to do. They weren't able to achieve that, so this might not be up to the same caliber, but to win Pinnacle Cup to close these things out and to move into the player break with a bit of a positive like thumbs up, I feel like that to me is going to be a lot of importance there for the Spirit side. So there's arguments you can make in terms of who's really the more hungrier for them, but I don't doubt that any team's going to be slouching in this match.
No, you can't expect so. Again, another kind of thing to mention is we've got Overpass coming into the Veto in map 3. forZe are on a 7-map winning streak. So, yeah, their win rate's high. They're also recently on an absolute tear of that. And for Spirit, they got knocked out in the semi-finals last Pinnacle Cup. They'd like to go a little bit deeper this time around.
In terms of like map win streaks as well in general for the likes of forZe, they're currently on a 9 best-of-3 win streak, of which they've conceded a single map in that entire period of time. So in terms of momentum, forZe are just coming into this so hot. Again, the level of teams is not quite as high as someone like a Spirit, for example, but they're still in they're still in a bit of a rough spot when it comes to actual match wins on the board here, Dwayne. So I look forward to seeing how well that will be able to translate in, because we talk a lot about how momentum game is very important in the modern day of Counter-Strike, especially at this tier 2 level. But the issue is there like a glass ceiling for forZe to break through to be able to challenge a tier 1 team like a Spirit?
We know they've done it in the past. Have a look at their run last year. Like, they had a little bit more opportunities playing at that higher echelon. Actually did very well. Seems like the opportunities this year haven't quite been the same. But we know that they can step up to tier 1 teams. We know that they can hold their own ground. And when I look at forZe, I think to myself, okay, they're on a big winning streak. The last month, they've lost 4 games, 1-16. They've lost to HO twice. They've lost to Gambit, and they've lost to Na'Vi. They do not take losses. So knowing they're facing off against Spirit, at least confidence-wise, it's probably at an all-time high.
Indeed it is, and I imagine that they'll come into this one knowing how important this match is, and considering that they've always had the down back foot when it comes to the best of 3s and the map victories, but the last series that they played was a 2-0 for forZe. So forZe, again, in terms of like the head-to-head rivalries coming into this match, they've also got recent history behind them, even though overall history does favour the Spirit camp. I do feel like overall history is the slightly more accurate storyteller for me, however, so again, that's the reason why I'm sort of like pinning Spirit in this matchup, and it's with the experience is what makes a lot of sense. But forZe, I mean, if they can pull off an upset here, I feel like it's very likely that they could do that. I mean, I don't think anyone should sleep on them at all.
I think they will win this series, honestly. Looking at
Really?
the way the veto's panned out, looking at the way that Spirit have been a little bit average, nothing really special for them in the higher tier positions in the higher tier tournaments, I think forZe have got a very good crack. Yeah, it is going to be an upset for sure. They've done it once before. They need to replicate again today. But I think the chance of them actually getting a victory here today is a lot higher than what most people would think.
I mean, again, I'm going to give it like a very close affair, but for me, I'm going to lean towards the favour of Spirit, just because, again, that experience is involved. They've got Degster back in the lineup, and even without Degster yesterday, they look so confident. So I think that confidence is going to be able to improve to be able to, step up compared to yesterday's opponent and challenge a team like a forZe. For me, I feel like Spirit are just the better team overall in this matchup. And yes, forZe can easily take control of this series. I'm not going to doubt them on that respect, but in terms of like my initial sort of before pre-series predictions, I'm going the way of Spirit on this one, 2-1.
I guess as well, some of the head-to-heads are a bit misleading. Yeah, we've seen a lot of matches between one another. We've only seen 2 this year, and the last one, even that, was like almost over 2 months ago. So there's a lot that's changed since there. forZe have now been able to kind of break that ceiling of top 30. They're now a top 20 team in the world. So even though there has been a little bit more leniency over to the Spirit side in the past, I feel like any result more than like 3 months and onwards is almost irrelevant at that point. So I look at that last one, I go, oh, hang on a minute, that was a 2-0 for forZe.
Indeed, and I can see where you come from with that, but you also got to remember that in that 2-0 is very different maps compared to this particular series. That was Nuke and Mirage that were played out in this one. We're not going to see either of those here in this particular veto. The last Dust 2 as well was the one that went the way of the forZe side. The last Overpass went the way of Spirit. We've never seen an Ancient, obviously. So in theory, there's a way in which we go towards a 3-map affair. And again, when you consider how good Dust 2 was for the has been for the Spirit side in recent months, and I just just see them having a bit of an edge, you know, with the experience that they have overall. And yeah, again, forZe can very easily be able to take control of this, but I also feel like, again, that whilst, yeah, maybe previous results have not necessarily, you know, had the same amount of relevance as that previous matchup, that's still always 2 months ago. And there's always been that one sort of like series victory that forZe take on the occasion, and then Spirit come back with like 2 more series after that in history terms. So I feel like Spirit have the wherewithal to be able to bounce back from losses, and I think that they're going to bounce back from their previous loss as well.
It's even a little bit surprising they haven't played each other more. Like, you have a look over the years, they played each other a lot last year. We've already seen 2 CIS RMRs, and we've never seen a head-to-head. So it just seems like forZe are on one side, Spirit on the other, and they're not really meeting a massive amount. So yeah, we'll be keen to be able to kick this series off. I think for Magix, he needs to probably replicate another strong performance. He had almost 100 ADR over a course of those 2 maps against Fiend. He just looked really impressive.
Indeed, I look at that SDY performance, and I think that again, he's one of the guys that will look towards as one of the main sort of individuals in this, not as a main sort of star, but like as a backup player, if you will, to the likes of Dexter, who again I feel like Dexter's going to be the guy that all eyes are on. We're not 100% certain of his complete condition. He says he feels a little bit better, but we haven't actually seen how he performs in the server itself. So I look at this and I think that there's potential again in terms of what could happen, but again, the confidence does favour the likes of the Spirit side.
And I guess as well, we know that Sinners just had a massive winning streak in terms of themselves up against Endpoint in the last semi-finals, Jay. So I guess you can say sometimes winning streaks don't always continue going, do they?
No, they want to come to a head at a certain point, so we'll find out whether it will come up to a head at this particular stage. The Pinnacle odds do have Spirit as favourites in this series. I'm going Spirit, you're going forZe, it seems, in this best of 3. 2 maps or 3?
Oh, definitely 3. Don't see this being a 2 at all.
Let's see whether it will be the case here, whether Spirit can pull something out of the hat, or maybe forZe could do the exact same of their own. Right, it's the pistol round going live for our final semi-final here of the tournament here in the Pinnacle Cup. It's Almazar already pressing the issue here for the forZe camp. Straight out to that mid control with 2 other teammates behind him. Mir gets the shock of his lifetime as Zorti takes that opening frag, and Dexter's forced to retreat away.
I'm kind of surprised they don't try and sandwich them in as they retake back towards that short position. Kenzie with a great tap onto SPY, and now it seems like the T's want to try and make some moves out to the B side, but the CTs, they're already on rotation.
2 players remaining for the Spirit camp. They're just getting cleaned up easy, but his USP's backstabs involved. Flick gets credited with a kill, and Magix all that remains. He's got a 1 versus 5 with bomb out of his control. Almazar domes his head, and it will be a pistol for forZe.
Jeez, they're looking pretty sharp early, aren't they? Everyone really finding impact in that round outside of Jerry. Really great aggression up towards that top mid position. They get the flash over the top, take those instant duels. And what I love is even when they start falling back to that short position, they're still making a bit of a play out to the B side. There's so much movement across the map there from forZe, and for Spirit, they just lost so many of those duels.
A big start for them. Follow-up round from Spirit's going to be featuring on the eco basis. No major weapons brought down. A Tech 9 for Magix will be about it. Locks in with lack of Kevlar and 1 flashbang for Chopper to utilize, but outside of that, it's pretty much it. Should be cleaned up easy by forZe. I see these SMGs in particular can get the money together against their name. Jerry is very close to the likes of Magix and Co. Let's get our first frag in. At least there's a trade involved here for the T-side line.
And just trying to do as much damage as possible. There's not a massive amount of investment coming through. Kenzie struggling a little bit in with his teammate at Flit. The Biko pistols aren't going to get away with any more than that. So a 2-0 round coming through from forZe. There's a slight limitation. They did lose a couple of players only up against very, very light eco. So maybe there's a little bit of a disappointment in that. But we get into the early rifles. We'll get the AKs out straight away.
And that's the main thing, I think, for this particular team, just to know that, again, you're going towards the early gun round. You can hold some level of contest with the big weapons. Indeed, the pistols getting cleaned up easy. At least they didn't concede many SMG frags, which I think is a slight positive for their own. So a couple of things here and there they can be happy with. M4's in for the likes of Almazar as he keeps his eyes held towards the front lines and gets me immediately outside of long. A great kill to start. Not a lot of support for the T-side player.
Jeez, they're aggressive, aren't they? They're even going to start making an aggressive short play. 2 of them here. Spirit have got no idea.
They get a frag involved. See several other players as well alongside Jerry to get the kill involved. Chopper will fall. Dexter gets 2 scout shots to headshots, however, so it's a 3 versus 2. He's expecting players to come back out towards long, but Almazar still wins that fight, drops the bomb, and Magix left the clutch in this one. He had a hell of a game yesterday, but this might be a bit too much for him. He's found that first. He can't isolate the other 1v1s. We've got to look towards that short control. Did not see the AUG.
And they know that that bomb's been taken away, so they've got to be able to recalculate the idea that he's out towards the longhouse. Now, the short player, zorti, can get back over towards the site. He's even gone incendiary to try and slow down the long play.
Pushing up with 55 seconds to the clock. Magic's expecting presence. Sees his man, but zorti still wins out the fight and the frag. Nice for them to start things off. This is a well-played round thus far.
Jeez, they don't give a damn, do they? They are really aggressive, and that's probably something you want, especially in a CIS derby. You want to show dominance early, especially if you're the underdog as well. You want to be able to show that confidence that you don't mind making those aggressive duels, and for Spirit, it just felt like that whole round, they were so uncomfortable. Oh, missed CT smoke actually coming through from forZe. Luckily, there was no one in D-Sport watching for that.
They're not 100% confident there for their own right, but at least they still hold the lead for now. Smokes down, nades in. Magic's going to lean up with a Tech 9 to lead the charge here for the Spirit squad. Waiting for a moment with smokes up towards that mid control. Jerry watching, SMG in hand. Has seen that bomb cross back there, I think just at the edge of the smoke, but not quite a kill yet.
It could be a bit of a split play into the B site, try and see if they can overwhelm the CTs. Fleer's even quite aggressive out from mid.
Smoke's on, here comes the hit. It will be Mir with a kill to open up onto Flit. So great kill on the Deagle's part. Nades back should be able to deal with the trade at least for the CT side. Awkward spray from Almazet has come up with those 2 picks, makes it a triple. And eco pistols are cleaned up pretty nice and effectively for forZe. 4-0 to the start, Spirit. Bye-bye.
Jeez, Almeza, like, survived and just recovered that whole round. There was actually a really good chance they lose that round. When you look at the situation that Mir gets the pick onto Flit out from mid, B-site could just be overwhelmed so quickly. Almeza is the only player, and he just does not get traded. You think about that, if he gets a 1-for-1, they get a bomb down in a 4v3 situation. They've got a couple of rifles to work with. Things look great for Spirit if they can find that trade onto the anchor, and they just can't.
Look at how aggressive forZe are getting towards that mid-control continuously. Sprays through onto the likes of SDY to 32 points of health he'll go. Even further to go low for the moment. Spirit playing passive, playing careful, now knowing they're going to continuously get pressured up by this forZe side. Be very careful about their next face.
You know that you had that whole statement of, oh, play your own game. It almost feels like for forZe, they're playing the game of how much can we anti-strat Spirit and use against them. So many of these duels are just catching Spirit completely off guard. They're not expecting the early aggression. And then what I love from forZe, they do some opening damage from Jerry onto SDY. Look at how passive the round is now.
60 seconds to the clock here, Spirit. Up and ready with the smokes down. The A site for the moment here. It's initially playing up to that position. It's Chopper with the AK that will look downrange. Expect there to be something of the CT line. Molotovs involved. Spray through, catching that bomb carrier. Gets Chopper to fall. Gets Mir to fall as well. And Flit on the other side. SDY being low and everything. 1 kill can return for Dexter with 30 seconds to go in for the B hit. And the bomb's out in the open here.
Flint's kind of stuck. He needs a little bit of assistance from the CTs, and Kenzie just pushes through the smoke by himself. Magic's got to recover the bomb, get all 4 kills. This is never happening.
No respect being shown by forZe here to Spirit, knowing that this team are in such a disadvantageous position, and everything is coming up Millhouse for the CT side. 5-0. Is looking great. Absolutely great here for forZe.
And hang on, isn't this the Spirit side that has lost Dust 2 3 times out of 19 maps, and it's against Gambit and Na'Vi, and that they just don't lose this map, but yet they don't even look competitive at the start here from forZe. They are absolutely doming them.
This is a hell of a start. And again, something I was not expecting coming into this map up was for them to just absolutely walk all over them. Kills found in the early few moments of each round. The AKs coming out here against the rifles. It's Flit and Kenzie with the crossfire. Mir will be able to get Kenzie to return back. 4 versus 3. T-side players going past Big Box, and still they're just going to fall apart for this. It is an eco half by here for Spirit, but it's going to lead a 6-0. And again, they just kind of capitulate under the pressure that forZe are applying towards the Mir. Leaning up, Dexter will get tagged a little bit, dealt with eventually. The Eagle can shine back for Mir's part, but only for a single frag. It's 3 alive for forZe, 6-0 to the CT board.
And we are seeing both Chopper and SDY yet to frag. 0-6 or 0-1-6 for Chopper, but both of them yet to be able to get anything up onto the scoreboard. And just take a look at the money of the economy state from forZe. They're running double orbs. Yeah, they did lose a couple of AKs in that last round, but there's so much money behind them.
Simple stuff here for the Spirit camp. forZe. Testing now with the full guns against their name. The double AWP staying in play. And no AK, unfortunately, here for the CTs, but probably should be fine considering the way that Spirit are playing with the way that forZe are regressed to get the opening frags. Smokes down over at the mid doors. I thought for a second the Magic was not going to go for that, but he does and dives away to avoid the AWP wall bangs. Tanks a nade, unfortunately, so there's damage being done. And a good shot from zorti lands some more damage. So 15 HP for Magic, so now Mir's going to take face in. The Incendiary might drive them back, and indeed it should do.
zorti getting that early tag in. He's got to be careful about how he continues positioning himself because he is relatively low. Just going to flash up, go a little bit passive more towards the A side.
Orb still set in. Jerry gets his kill. zorti gets one on Magic's. It's a 5-on-3. Maybe to the CTs, and Spirit just don't really seem like they know what they're doing here on Dust 2.
Yeah, they look lost, don't they? So many of these duels just drying towards the AWPers. Jerry and zorti having an easy time. Spirit, they've got to recover. They've just got to be able to get themselves back in. Even that re-smoke down to the short position, just wasting time.
Smokes in, flashes over. Mir peeking up above. Hoping that there's something out here towards the elbow position, but so far so little has been gained. Two CTs on the backlines of the crossfire. The AWP watching. The M4 waiting for his chance to strike. 20 seconds to the clock. Spirit are going to make their move in now. Bomb's got to get out there, and zorti's ready for the run boost. Mir's not getting away with anything. Chopper's dead easy as well. 10 seconds for SDY. He's also tagged to 18. Flash is over. He's got no time, and he's got no life. 7-0 for forZe.
Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Spirit taking a tactical. They need a wake-up call. I don't think their alarm's gone off yet.
This is concerning. This is very concerning. I'd love to see what the odds look like over at Pinnacle at this moment, because I don't think they might be good. Of course, you yourself can check those out at pinnacle.com/odds and find the latest in-play offerings for this match and the grand finals coming up immediately afterwards. But yeah, this is not looking good. This is really just not looking good at all for Spirit.
It's a poor Spirit to start. It's a slow start. Haven't really got going. And some of the comments really for zorti and Kenzie maybe coming over from Ethereal, because they really got to show themselves up on that Ethereal side, was they can't hang with the big dogs. You put them in tier 2 and they're just going to struggle. But the last 2, even 3 months for zorti, he has been so consistent with that orb.
He's really been fantastic here for forZe. I'm part of the reason why they're even in this position to begin with. Amazing stuff posted up by him. Him and Jerry have been on those double AWPs the last couple of rounds, and they've done so much damage to Spirit here. Down to the half-buy with the upgrade pistols and the scout. Where do they go with this?
Just standard long take. Get those one smoke in from Chopper. Might even be deeper towards CT instead of just a stand across. But Kenzie up on the side needs to be careful that he doesn't just get overwhelmed.
Tech 9 tapping for SDY. Flick comes up with a kill and doubles up alongside Kenzie there on the site. 3 kills between those 2 players. And 2 left standing for the Spirit side. Trying their best to try and overwhelm something, but just nothing coming through for them. Now all left on Dexter, 1 versus 5. Scout overwhelmed by zorti and co, and it's an 8-0 flawless take at a half for the CT side. When does Spirit get started here? They've got guns out for round 9, but it's got to be soon, right?
Hold me back, Jay, if I'm being too harsh here. But even on an eco, why are they peeking out towards CT spawn? A couple of players die, and then the deep CT smoke comes in? It seems that the whole protocols here from Spirit are just way off. People are taking dry fights. They've got no way of crossing into the site, being slightly further with some protection of at least a util. forZe, if they keep this up, they've just got to make sure they're not getting complacent, not getting cocky at 8-0 up. That's the main thing they've got to work on here.
100%. Like, they're so ready to roll with this. Smokes down, nades involved, will try to press initially. Burst through, fire back, up. Hearing the footsteps of the Dagster. Not able to catch them. Incendiary's on, nades over. Suppression involved. The T-side players just look to go towards the B commitment. Only one player to hold them off.
Flick can be quite quick on rotation, but even the B player, Kenzie, doesn't have any util to work with. Just a single flash. He won't be able to slow this down.
Hold off the M4 spray. Gets 1 and 2. Burst back on the likes of Flick. He will get another trade back onto SDY, so it's a 4 versus 2. T-side presence held together. Flashes involved. M4 swings. Chopper can at least get Flick to get a trade back, so there's something involved in this, but an advantage still over forZe, and Spirit are yet to get the bomb plant.
Seems like Jerry wants to go quite aggressive, just go straight out of the doors itself with the orb, trying to see if he can find the shot onto Dexter. Great connection, and they've seen Chopper onto the site. 9-0 up for forZe. It may have been a little bit chaotic for Flit to overwhelm that 4v2, but in the 3v2, they just delivered even further.
9-0. 9-0.
How is he not traded?
I don't know. This is concerning. This is such a concerning line to hold here for Spirit, knowing that this has just been this dominant for forZe on CT of Dust 2, on Spirit's pick of Dust 2. Back and forward with eco buy, T-side. Do we get at least one pick back on Jerry's? There's something to respond with on the AWP, but no rifle that can get picked up here for the T-side line. It's well behind the mid door.
It's one of the first times in a while Spirit have actually had an opening man advantage, but now they've got to try and work with it. Unfortunately, it's only a half buy, so you're right, yeah, that AWP falls, but it's going to be so difficult for them to recover it because you've still got 2 CTs out of this mid-control.
Nades up, Zorti. Tagged up a little bit further so the AWP can get forced back a little bit. Nades on Magic's doing damage. Tech9 can finally cross back towards that short control, so second AWP has been recovered by Almaza. Let's see what he can do with it here. Still held back on that B bomb site as the T's just press their issue, continue their campaign towards A.
Look at this read. forZe have now got 3 players on the A side. The 4th player is still over at B, but for the most part, Spirit, they have to commit short here.
Let's ready. 3 CTs total to hold down this site. 1 player watching long for that late lurk on Dexter's part. Magic seen first and foremost. Kenzie and Flick crossfire, decimate them all, and it's just cleaned up. It's just cleaned up here for forZe. 10-0. Dexter starts right into the A site, hoping he can find some sort of response, hoping he can find some sort of hero-like play, but that's so unlikely. It's so off the table. There it is, 10-0. forZe. Double digits. Spirit have still not scored around here, Dweg. What is going on? What is going on?
No idea. Honestly, we've seen, what, 1 tactical from Spirit, and they're down 0-10. Oh, boy. This is so harsh. This is so rough. Spirit, I don't know how you bounce back from this, but they've got to start working with momentum. But how do they even get momentum when they haven't even got around yet?
See, the more interesting question to me right there is, what was that spike that had to do with the massive momentum shift for Spirit on that graph? That was super weird. Want to like cross-reference that with how the match has gone and try and figure out what round that happened in and why it was. Spirit have been being played for fools right now. At least they've got an advantage in the HP numbers against Zorti. Just using all the utility here on the CT side to suppress them. And yeah, now information gained by Kenzie. He's going to know it's an A play.
I love this. I just love this. So much info being gathered. Rotates can come over. He can get 2 kills.
No one's watching. Now SDY is, but he's dealt with on Kenzie's kill regardless. Dexter can respond towards Flit, so there's a response down towards that mid control. You can see where the player had dropped. That mid door's angle. Jerry's even going to rotate in towards CT spawn to try and hold off the mid control. Allows Zorti instead to hold the A site defense.
How are they going to flash him off? They've got 2 flashes. That's all they've got up against Zorti.
Backed up here over at the ramp control, looking over the short boxes. Molotov Zing, going to try to drive him out of position. He did see 1 player. The Magix gets that kill in regardless. So, Jerry, moving up to angle. He's got 1 player over towards that long control in Almaza that could potentially support him. But I think the forZe are going to back up here. I mean, they've got a lot of money, so I'd like to see them throw themselves at this, but being a much more conservative side than we initially expect. Actually, no, they might still go for it. Switch out to the M4.
It makes a lot of sense. Even try and get some exit kills. Great shot coming in from Dexter. That probably calls in the save now, doesn't it?
I'd say so. Jerry's still going to try baiting the shots here, trying to avoid that headshot. His teammate's creeping up here to the car position. He's seen one man tap forward to the headshot. That's one good kill. Still trying to look for the player over at Gandalf. Has seen him, but tagged up of his own right. And Dexter triples down in this round. And finally, they get their first for Spirit. What a laboured effort it was in this half. forZe are holding on to that AK at least, but the bottom line is going to be that score.
A decent timing, honestly, for SDY to sort of look back over towards the lower tunnels, because you could imagine that Kenzie probably wanted to trigger discipline there play, didn't he? Probably try and see if he can line up a couple, but realizes as soon as SDY looks over to that left-hand side and back towards upper, he's got to take the kill instantly. Dexter in that round got away with, what, 3 kills overall with that AWP, finding a lot of impact, but it was honestly the entry for Magix onto the site itself. I think it was a slight unscope coming through from Zorti and just an instant headshot for Magix.
Yeah, so press button Molotov and everything had to drive that player out of position. Now Zorti's going to take that AWP aggressive into short control, but Magix is able to detect him, get his pick back, open up the round here for Spirit, take the AWP immediately out of play. Only a single AWP this time here for forZe. No secondary involved for Jerry and co.
It seems like Magix is going to be the difference maker now for Spirit, starting to find a little bit of form. Found an entry in that last run, does the same again in the second. Trying to see if they can follow up. Ooh, a couple of players towards shore on the city side.
AK swing, Jerry and Mir back and forth. Jerry can double up, so back to a 3 versus 3. Doesn't see that AWP, and Dexter hesitates to take the shot. Reface back in, does catch it alongside Chopper, finding Kenzie. So mistakes were made, but they are recovered easily, and now B site is completely open.
Flit's just got to hold on to the M4. There's no way you could do that. And for Spirit, it's a little bit more scrambly in that kind of round. They put a lot of pressure up towards that short position. Yeah, the duels aren't exactly the easiest, but all it just relies down on is trying to get the CTs to over-rotate. And you could just see the way that Chopper is waiting out in mid, waiting for the B player of Almeza to show his card, show the rotation in from mid. And as soon as he does, they realize, okay, we'll just rotate, we'll take the B side. We know it's completely open. And for Spirit, they follow up, they get their second.
That's taken a long time to get to this position when now they look like a decent force, but obviously still down by a number of rounds here against forZe. It's only 2 to the T-side board. And there's still money to play with for the CTs as well. 12 grand on Almeza, about a $3,000, $3,500 minimum. 2 rounds lost bonus will come forward as well, so there's a little bit extra to work with. And with the money line being where it is in terms of the float, forZe, it's a great buy up here for the next round. So Team Spirit are still going to have to work hard.
They're pretty much going to be fine for the rest of the half, aren't they? They've only got 3 more rounds to play. Lost bonus is kicking up there at 2,400 now. The only real way that any limitations are is if they just get absolutely rolled in the next couple of rounds and they go into round 15 with at least something in terms of a disadvantage. forZe, though, they look composed, and I wonder if they start sort of changing things up, because a lot of their success in the majority of portion of this half has been aggression, a lot of opening fights being won. Now they haven't quite been that way in the last couple of rounds.
Finally feel like Spirits have rocked them. Confidence returns back to where it should be on paper, at least. We're continuing to play on towards this T-side line and towards that long control. Flashes over against Zorti. Let's get one player across towards Pit. No one's going to watch for that. But neither AWP will see each other, and the AWP of the CTs does not see Spirit either.
Zorti's in a one and done spot. Might be able to get away with 1 kill, but he's got no one to even trade off him.
Seeing the arm and the likes of Magix takes that tag off, and Dexter can't find a response. He does see his man and does deal with Zorti, so the kill goes the way of the T-side force. Rotation scramble by forZe, trying to get back into that A-bomb site. All 4 players are on their way.
Missed their chance there, Zorti. Only got away with just a shoulder pick, and Magix goes down to 20. Spirit are going to be running into a very heavy stack on this A site, though.
But their staggered approach to this is still going to consider the idea of a counter-rotate here for the forZe side. Those 4 players have now started to take positions on a quick rotation angle, and the all picked up by Flit does not connect his collateral. Chopper gets his frag. So Two-man advantage for Spirit. Damage has been done to the Knights of Magics. No one's been able to capitalize on that. They're blind firing through these smokes. And Jerry finally gets caught back. Two left in Almazer and kenzie. Almazer does get one good response involved. Can't find a second though, so it's kenzie that stands alone in the 1 versus 4. Molotov up towards short to drive him away from that angle. Back at CT, he's just got to save.
Spirit, very, very good long take from them. Just in the way that they slow it right down. They force in the mistakes. And what you can expect for any team going up against Spirit, you start making mistakes and they're going to punish you. And Zorti is just the prime example in that whole case. He tries to swing out slightly wide on a walk from Car, misses his chance of getting a pick, instantly gets traded. And then from there, forZe are desperate. They know they need to get a fight back. And Flit goes to himself, okay, I'm going to pick up the orb. I'm just going to peek out from CT. And everyone at Long is ready for that.
Everyone finds it appropriate. Nice stack attempt from forZe. I would have thought that would have been enough to catch Spirit off guard, but just not to be. The makings of this tier 1 team have finally come to decent fruition. We've got a long way back against the forZe side though, so Rebuy will be seen once again for the CTs. This might be their last one of the half.
And even for Spirit, yeah, it's been 3 strong rounds in a row. They're still in an awful position, aren't they? 3-10 down, because all it may take is a pistol victory, an opening rifle round in the second half, and just everything changes. Back to the double orb setup for forZe.
Dexter deals with one of them. Zorti falling first. Jerry aggressing up towards mid. I think there's a player ready for that. That's SDY with the crack angle. Sees the man, does not get the headshot, gets the body spray instead, and the second face will deal with Jerry. So, 5-on-3 advantage Spirit. Holding on to their own after conceding 10 in a row. Things are still hard to pick up for them. Indeed they have. These last 3 rounds have looked so confident from the favorites.
And they have, and Dexter's looked confident too. That AWP has been a machine in these last handful. Flit and Almazer trying to crossfire off one another, playing back where Zorti was in the last round.
M4 with a kill. Dexter trades it. AWP involved for Flit. Can't quite catch a return. Him and kenzie with both of the AWPs now holding out the A and B sides respectively. Molotov's in from the CT positions in the car angle in particular. Trying to drive him away from angle, but they realize that the man on the site was the only player that was there, and he'll just back off towards that short control. Hope he can get a kill, but probably might be saving off the back of the site take. Very, very difficult retake to make happen here for these two.
There's no way they're going to go for this. Like, Flit has just got to back off, make sure they're holding on to the double AWPs, because Money is in not the best of positions at all. Even with the loss bonus getting quite close to max rounds, it's better off to just hold on to what you have, allow Spirit to take the bomb site, and just give yourself the best buy-in going into round 15. We know that Flit can drop an M4, kenzie could drop an M4, and Jerry probably buys himself. So all in all, we're still going to see a good buy from forZe.
Good enough for the last round of the half here for them. So the CTs will be allowed the full level of reset in eco or force buy. So something. Definitely could have been worse. That much is I guarantee. Spirit definitely gotten good in these last handful of rounds. Again, looking so confident for their T-side basis. They're even going to take one of those AWPers out as he double faces and Flit. That's a bad call. kenzie's now going to get hunted because Spirit would know what it would mean to get rid of this big green from the CT side. He gets that first frag and that second. Wonderfully done. And the last man way too far away. Dexter having a save. Both AWPs stay in play. And forZe's buy might be looking a little bit more awkward now than it did before.
Yeah, losing that AWP doesn't help a massive amount because they could have chucked that over to Jerry and then they would have had a double AWP setup instead. They've only got one, so it is a slight limitation there. Decent hunt out for Spirit. Yeah, they don't drop the other AWPer, but they are still going to make the buy slightly worse than what it could have been. MP9 out for Jerry, and for Spirit, it really feels like now we're actually seeing the Spirit we should have for the entire Dust 2.
Yeah, it took a while to get to this position. forZe maintained such a ridiculous lead because of that, but Spirit coming into their own and now looking to take their map pick under their wing. Magix gets that first kill. Chopper also doubles up. The long house is taken. Long control established by Spirit. Zorti thinking about a rotation away. He has got a teammate right behind him, so he has that little bit of an option to work with, but right now Spirit again with their standard defaults here. They'll jump face bait in the AWP. Shot on Zorti. Lands a tag. No kill against him though.
I'm not really sure why Dexter's holding the auto, but wants to try and see if he can do something with it. And up towards the A side, just going to be a simple long commit.
Focus on the crosses, and Dexter with a flick straight towards Zorti. Easy pickings, that's why he's holding the auto. Kenzie gets one response back over towards mid-control, but it's flit here on the site that's going to become the main central defender. Molotov to the back, he sprays still on Chopper, SDY bails him out. And Kenzie, a 1 versus 4 to try and win in this one, and it's not going to happen. Magic's with his swing and a hit. And a 5th round for Spirit to close out the half with a recovery.
Decent there for Spirit. Getting 5 rounds in a row, at least trying to bring it back, looking confident in doing so. forZe, they've probably got to just have a slight little mental reset and say, oh, okay, lads, we looked really good in the early section of Dust 2. Now it's been slowed down a little bit. Let's get the momentum back up. Let's lead from the front. I mean, even in the kills, 60 kills to 35. It's almost double.
Yeah, again, I think overall they've been playing a better game thus far here on that forZe side. Spirit started to show the confidence that they had over on their tail end of the first half. Carry it into the second one at this stage. I mean, even if you take a look at the bombs planted in Dene, they had only 4 of them in that entire half there. So, and very good basis for forZe to work with as we go to technical pause called in by the Spirit side. We'll find out what that is in a short few moments. But a moment to remind you all about Trusty, of course, one of our partners for the Pinnacle Cup. Don't let your playing experience be disrupted by slow payments. Choose Trusty to make your payments flow quickly from account to account. No cards, no app download, no registration, no nada. So we're really getting the pistol round here, Dwayne. And how important will this be here for Spirit?
It will be more important for forZe, I want to say. Only because it just makes sure that you don't continue being on the back foot. We know that for Spirit, if they gain pistol, they're just going to continue making momentum work, continue bringing that sort of deficit back. So even though Spirit are down 5 to 10, I want to say that this pistol round is more important to forZe.
Arguably. Again, I feel like Spirit kind of need to get the conversions involved to try to get that 10 to 8. Can work with that. Potentially could a new way in. T-side default set in towards this lower tunnels position where C2 will start to progress towards upper. They could have their backs turned to a swivel though, so this might not be the best of plays here for forZe. Now that PT50 looking up here for Zorti. He gets that first kill. Seeing the second round of SDY as well. Not a lot of information gained, but a CT player is going to fall back out of position. Try not to concede his life. Try not to concede a 2-man advantage.
And the bomb is right out in the long position. And, SDY still getting quite aggressive. He's going to start clearing out the upper tunnels, but the T's are still ready for more aggression.
Rotate out. Dexter. I think something towards that mid position as the T-side players walk their way forward back into the A play. The bomb on the back of Jerry. And no defensive whatsoever here towards the A side. They're going to have to go for retake or rotation.
And there's still so much util for forZe to work with. Crossing out from CT, it is quite dry. They haven't used that smoke down for Zorti just yet. Chopper does find an answer back.
Great stuff on Jerry. Smokes down onto the CT spawn. Chopper's going to try and get ahead of it. Taps forward of Kenzie doing some damage to Dexter. Chopper takes some of the blind fire back here towards the cross. Magic's also gets scooshed down to 13 points. SDY takes some damage. Chopper comes up with a kill. Zorti turns it in against his own man. Now Flitz fighting towards elbow. He gets 1. Dexter and Magic's got a couple of picks back. It's all left to Dexter. Dealt with by Zorti for the quadra hold. And forZe with the T-side pistol.
Yeah, Dexter, we know what you could do in that first half, but we also know what the AWPer could do on the other side. Zorti and the pistol, even with the players being as low as they were, just headshot after headshot with that P250. Very uncharacteristic round coming through from Spirit in terms of the repositioning. They tried to get aggressive in the tunnels, then they went quite far out to mid and brought a lot of players over to that short position. It allowed forZe not to take a massive amount of contact until they got into the site itself, but forZe, they do convert.
Now they look on to the gun round, of course, the conversions for Spirit. The double scouts in for SDY and Dexter. Both players been great on the snipers in the last couple of days. We talked about that double AWP setup coming in for the likes of Spirit, but so far not able to get the big greens out at the moment, having to leave concession again for round 17. Might come through in a future full round investment, but right now their focus on Spirit is going to be trying to equalize this situation. Because they're on the back foot right now.
A nade placement could be everything. Jerry swinging out wide, does not have a teammate with him, and that's a Galil just getting picked up instantly.
Scout shot to Zorti, taking a duel in against the likes of SDY, and Mayor's going to back off Or the Deagle, leaves them up that mid-to-B player. The Galil will try and see if we can take a fight, and Trouble's actually going to win it out against Kenzie. Sprays back on Almaz, will do some damage to return, but no casualties sustained here by the CTs. 45 for forZe, they're going to go towards the A play.
And they are not in a good position whatsoever. They've got only slight utility, and the CTs, they've rotated really well to A.
Hash over. Scout dealt with by Almaz, and next, but Deagle, the Magic still chimes in. 2 less standing for forZe. Bomb's been dropped as well, not quite down to the CT spawn angle. And that had been the case, that would have been round over already. Zorti seeing one player at the edge of the smoke and Flit catches that man instead. Mears continues to look forward in this, looking for the headshot angles. Bomb gets picked up, can get planted here. They're going to go jump face? No, they won't. They'll just secure that bomb plant. Try fend off the rest of the retake. Now down to 2 players, 1 and none. SDY holds that final frag and holds the round for Spirit.
A decent recovery to come through from the forZe side. They're down by a lot in that sort of situation. They're able to get a bomb plant, deal with almost everyone. SDY being able to pull through with the clutch. For forZe, they have to be able to buy up again. That extra bomb bonus will give them a slight little extra amount of money with that 1900 loss bonus they'll have in the next round. But for Spirit, that's exactly what they were looking for.
All important. Again, to sort of turn the situation around and try to put the money hurt back on the forZe side. The pistol could do that, but the conversion could do it more so. Still going to be a force buy with that bomb plant bonus. A Mac 10, a Galil, and a Scout. Upgrade the Eagles as well for the other 2 players of the forZe side, and they will press their issue. Sprays forward to the M4. Doing no damage, sailing right past the T side.
A nice little tag through the mid doors without any information at all. forZe, though, gotta wonder, do they just commit with the crossworks out from long and just decide to overwhelm the A site? At least for now, there is only 1 player on A, and that's Magic's.
As we can shoulder bait out players to make a mistake here on the long control. Scout in for Zorti, having the right pre-fire angle, does not get away with the kill or the tag. Meanwhile, aggression coming in from the CT side, going to go out towards lower tunnels. They've already cleared out the majority of mid, but now going to focus on this A defensive. Smokes on the cross. Jerry caught the first spray. Damage has been done to the man. He does not go falling. Magic's waiting at the edge of the smoke. You can see just about a gap there towards the back lines of the site itself. Almaza gets picked up by SDY. Good kill. Further aggression coming in with the CT side. Going to try find an angle to play with here. At the ramp entrance, the AWP looking for his own shots as Magix is forced to strike. Flit can get a trade back involved. AWP shots continuing to connect, but not do damage here. 38 seconds. The bomb's going to go down pretty soon here for forZe and Zorti and Dexter go back and forth with the snipers. Chopper even gets involved. Zorti gets it to a 2 versus 2, and now he's overwhelmed, leaving it all to Kenzie. Deagle out, tap forward. Galil picked up. A bomb in the open. Can go for a plant at least.
Just get that extra little bit of money in. It allows you to force buy again in that next round. Kenzie got to try and set himself up.
One coming in from CT. The other player thinking about the rotation towards long, and Kenzie's going to re-aggress for it. With his back turn towards one man, though. Wrong timing. Kill out for me. And Spirit with 7.
And they recover that AWP. Dexter having a really difficult time on that elbow position. What hurt forZe the most is that they were just a little bit slow. I guess it doesn't help that there's so much utility being used in there by that CT side, but it didn't really allow a massive opportunity of just getting that bomb down straight away, playing out the post plant. forZe up. They don't need to force again, but the opportunity is here if they want it.
And Pinnacle odds still favouring forZe off the back of their 10-round winning streak. Spirit have not done enough to really tip things back in their favour, and I guess for kind of a good reason here. Set in for the util over on the forZe side. Upgrade pistols. Incendiary's back here for Chopper. Flit. That's smoke down. All away from Magic's party. That's what he's thinking about. But yes, you're going to re-aggress back towards this pit position. Hasn't got much to deal with here. Lack of Kevlar for the most part here on the forZe side. It's kind of an eco.
It just knows that he's there. As soon as you put that smoke down to the incendiary, you have a pretty good idea that someone's playing out from blue bin. Flit trying to see if he can create a little bit of an angle for himself. Not to be. Dexter with the AWP on the A site is struggling.
Doing his best. Missing shots, however, left, right, and centre. Finally gets Jerry at this stage. Kenzie can't respond towards it. Zorti goes dropping in his place. Dexter holds on to that secondary kill, and now the T-side players on rotate will get caught by SDY. 2 of them remain in play. Nades up. Not quite man down, but doesn't matter too much. Again, they should get cleaned up by the rifles. Bit awkward from Dexter, but at least he holds the kills, and at least Spirit only lose 1 player.
Yeah, you don't want to be missing shots like that in a semi-final, though, especially when we get to the rifle rounds. I guess the importance of that last one wasn't major because, again, it is only up against a light eco, but for someone at his kind of stature and just the player that he is, that is unacceptable. That's got to be able to turn around, and we know that even in the first half, he was hitting some really good shots, so don't know what's quite happening there. Maybe we'll have to see a little bit more support coming through. Now going into the opening rifle round, we'll see the AWP going over for Zorti, AKs for pretty much everyone. We're going to see a single glue up for Kenzie. Zorti being flashed off. SDY didn't get an opportunity for a peek, though.
And boost up from Zorti to get his peek in over towards that short control. SDY continuing to hold the angle down towards the tunnel's entrance, going to ensure that the T side don't try and reaggress that angle as Magix gets the aggression on from Longhouse. Jerry falling. Start for Spirit. Chopper going to wait here at CT.
This is getting out of hand for forZe. Remember, this was a 10-0 start for them. Spirit just working round after round after round. Zorti just being flashed out from mid. Chopper doesn't swing. Instead, Almace is the one to do so.
Doesn't hit any bullets, though. Chopper getting away pretty much alive and unscathed. Push forward here for Zorti as AWP. Gonna check to that short control, but no one's aggressed that far here. Spirit are playing passive.
And they're in a very good position. They're holding onto their util. They're running the clock, even out towards Longhouse. Nade goes through a little bit too early to find any kind of connections, but they're going to spot the bomb and get the info.
Okay, ready. 2 to find, and Magix only gets the 1 frag. That's a double up overall. We're getting the initial kill on Jerry. Kenzie also falling back, and the AWP battle goes the way of Almazer as Dexter misses another crucial shot on the A defensive. Smokes inbound. I think a little bit awkward. They might give a bit of a gap to work with, but Flit still gets the kills of the players at CT Cross. So 3 on 2 as the bomb goes down, and Spirit gonna go and save.
How do they lose that? I'm looking in that whole situation. That can't be lost at all for Spirit. They've got a man advantage. They get a 1-for-1 trade out from Long. Mir's gonna have a little bit of a crack at this, but they've got to save, surely. They've got no money.
Yeah, that's the best option for them. Losing the pistol, gaining the conversions, and 3 on the trot leaves nothing in reserve with damage being done. Could get an okay force buy together, but it will be a force buy, and forZe get an all-important 12th to continue the slow grind back into the map victory.
Well, they're going to be, what, 1,400 loss bonus. They've got money on Dexter and Magix and Mir, so we could see another AWP being invested. It's actually going to be a pretty decent buy forward for the City side, just with the amount of money in the reserve for at least a few of these players. forZe, though, just the way that they were able to bait out the AWP shot, Almace are just instantly finding the pick, and it all started off so well in the round for Magix.
I think the issue really was the missed shots from Dexter that followed after Magix went down.
Yeah,
I mean, if he got the kills
course.
on Long, that probably wouldn't have been a site take as easy, and it probably could have been, at worst case, a 2v2 retake for Spirit. And his AWPing performance has been a bit concerning. He is doing okay on the numbers game, but in terms of the actual quality of the kills and whether he's hitting them consistently, it's not quite there. If he's falling behind, he's the top fragger of his team. Slight amount of concern for me.
But they are going aggressive up towards a short position, waiting for one of those T-side players to go up on Xbox and take that duel straight away. You wonder if forZe are going to do so.
Nice nade on. Damage done to 2 in Jerry and Flit. Chopper down with a Famasi, and the jump phases nades involved as well. Dexter going to burn quite significantly, so he's going to get forced even further off angle, but they think they might be secure here on shore. Chopper's going to press the issue. See 2 players get the kill on the first man and the second, and that's a bit more like it, Spirit.
And out towards the A side, Magic's just trying to play in and around the smoke. He's got the crossfire with the Zorpa. Got some more util coming in over the top. Deals that first player out. Meza, Kenzie getting a trade back. They need more kills on this T side.
And 2 versus 4. Kenzie looks back in the back. Zorti finds at least 1 kill, but 3 more to get of his own right. And overwhelmed by the smokes, suppressing vision, and CT players pushing the issue. Knife to the board of the CT side. forZe now starting to meet some stumbling blocks here.
I think they've met some stumbling blocks for a while. It seems that the only rounds they're converting outside of the 10-0 start they had is when we're seeing mistakes being made by the Spirit side. So, yeah, they've got a lead still up by 3, but Spirit, they're working very, very hard to get this comeback in. Great move from Chopper to get aggressive up from that short position. And both Flit and Jerry, they just weren't ready for that play.
Yeah, half by now with upgrade pistols involved for forZe. Scout as well for Almas at here for around 22, so there should be 10th to work with here for the Spirit squad. Setting up the utility. Very fast execution seems to come in for this pistol play. Might just get the bomb plant in at the best case. And might be the best thing that they can get out of this. Shot connects, does not get the kill on Zorti. The AWP whiffing out on that respect, but it will be Chopper and Dex to get those kills in on Jerry and Zorti in the end. The bomb can get planted from here, so it will be able to do so. The retake is going to be pretty easily swamped, I imagine, here from the Spirit squad. 2 players remaining in play, and yeah, this one just kind of fall apart. At least 1 kill for Almaza, but that's it.
That's not really worth it, to be honest. When you think about the Scout, the Deagles, the Kevlar, a little bit of util, yeah, it's nice to get a bomb plant, but you want to do economical damage to your opposition. You want to try and take one of those double AWPs out of play. You want to try and drop one of those AKs for Magics, but really only getting away with 1 kill. Not the best of ecos coming through from forZe. And for Jerry, this is a good moment for him to get a little bit more animated, make sure that he's keeping his guys sort of under wraps, because for forZe, they are letting this slip a little bit.
Incendiaries. Set with the smokes that are ready here against the likes of the T-side take of Long. Degster held back on short. Ready with the AWP, connects to Jerry. Ducks out of the way, gets that secondary pick, double tips in for a triple. Oh! He's landed on Kenzie, gets a quadra as well! And that's so much more like it. Dexter missing shots all day, but now on for the ace, turned away from Flit. They know he's there, looking for the pixel gap that he needs. And there it is! All 5 kills on short as Dexter smiles and Spirit are on 11.
What do you say? What do you say about that? Dexter can't hit anything, and then all of a sudden, he gets an ace almost out of nowhere. forZe, they think to themselves, okay, let's try put some pressure on the AWPer. Let's keep going aggressive. Let's try and trade him 1 for 1. No one could trade him.
Unbelievable. Dexter had a very difficult game right up until this round. What a sequence. 5 bullets, 5 shots. And 5 perfectly placed kills for him. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. And it's such a massive round for Spirit because they've been on this comeback so much recently. And it feels like finally this might be that turning point, the moment where they get some confidence on the board.
Well, at least in terms of self-confidence from the AWPer of Dexter in particular, that's the round that really puts you back into high spirits. And for forZe, it's been rough, really rough here on T-side. And it's almost, you can't even remember that it was a 10-0 start because for Spirit, it's been so consistent from them in the second half, in the majority of the late section of the first. Now just back on to a half by again. They've got a hero Galil to work with for Almaza.
Yeah, not a lot in the grand scale of things here. Tech 9's the Eagles, a Glock out for Zorti. Really very little here. Set the smokes and then try to go towards this mid to B play, it seems. And there's only 1 man to hold it off. It's Chopper. Players on the site as well. And actually he's going to get ahead of those smokes. Try to look for the gap out towards the mid doors. Alma's actually gets the kill to start things off.
And there we go. Much better out for the mid position. They're going to bait SDY. Going aggressive. Almaza gets a second in the round.
Almir's in the back of the site. Gets at least Jerry. At least got to deal with Almaza as well. Headshots found with 3 versus 3. Got a lot more work to do though. Flit, Tech 9 or Deagle, I should say. Zorti comes up with the AUG instead. So it's a man advantage maintained by forZe. But Kenzie's detected. So Magics and Dexter will go back to evens for the retake.
And they can get the bomb down. You've only got 1 player with Kevlar to work with. Flit has got to be the difference maker in this post plant.
Morning quiet, Flash is going over, will blind off Flit. Head ducked down, but still spotted out by Magic. It's going to have the Incendiary to put to his position. Time that right with a secondary flashbang as well. The M4 will take face and forward. It's all on Zorti in the back of the site. AUG against 2 will take the first fight, but lose it out. 2 HP for Dexter. Deagle turns it up, and it's 12 apiece now. Spirit have finally equalized.
That should have been a round victory there from forZe. Yeah, it's just an eco, but when you get an opportunity of getting a double entry from Almeza from mid and onto the B site, you've got to be converting those kind of rounds. Unfortunately for them, they struggle, and really good utility usage comes through from that Spirit side. They're able to spot out the card player Flit instantly, put that incendiary down, the flash pops in too, he's completely blind, and even for Mir on the site itself, he gets away with at least a couple of kills, just holds his ground.
Did so much to work in that defensive and allow it to turn into a decent retake for Spirit. A double ops in for the T side line against the full guns, of course, for the forZe camp. AKs, AWP. Of course, decent efforts put in by the T side to get the bomb plant and 3 casualties in the previous round. It wasn't a full-on investment there, so getting that together does limit the buy status here for Spirit. Not by much, but limited regardless.
Spirit trying to see if they can just bait in a little bit of an aggressive pick again, because for the most part, probably been 1-2 rounds at most for forZe getting opening man advantages in this second half. A bit of a fake out towards these mid smokes for the T side, but it seems like it's a regrouping towards an A split.
Offset Molotovs, he's seen one player with a gap. Almeza catches Magics as well in a gap. Chopper finding some sort of response. Dexter refacing out towards long, and he's domed immediately, so not allowed another sequence on this A defense. Smokes up, Chopper hiding in the middle of them. Will continue facing around against Kenzie's part. Molotovs trying to drive them away. Further incendiaries come down as Kenzie gets a kill back. Chopper can return it, but still a man advantage here for forZe, so there's no chance of Spirit to get it back.
A great hop for Flit, gets run boosted, has to just bunny hop over towards that last little bit of a section. Almeza peeks out, gets another in the round, and for SDY, he might as well go for this.
Got money, a little bit of it. Damage they could do to forZe if they're able to win this clutch. Smoke up.
Ah, can't SDY.
And he just goes ahead to rotate for a, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bit meta, I guess, for the CT side. I don't think they can afford the AWPs as frivolously as they could before, so it kind of makes a little bit of sense to me.
Yeah, it's safe, but I don't like safe, mate. I like to see Spirit go for those kind of rounds, really get something going, but they opt against it. They go for the option, which is looking after the money line, looking after the economy. And forZe, it really does seem that these last couple of rounds, Almeza's been putting his hand up saying, boys, I'm going to get us out of this. I'm going to get us over the line. For the most part, it was sort of a little bit more of like the Jerry and a Kenzie show in that first half. Kenzie was 17-4 at one point. But these last few rounds, Almeza's really started doing work in.
Look at how the winner percentage has sort of shifted over time here. It's been all forZe all day, up until this point now, where things have started to look particularly good for Spirit, and they've started to really come back into their own right. Double AWPs for SDY and Dexter. Guns up, face in, AWP trying to connect for Dexter's part, but so far so little. Gaining the kill counts, not a lot of damage either. Passive and quiet here towards these default sets.
Zorti's still holding out from top mid, just watching down with the AWP, just waiting for a bit of a sloppy cross, just someone to rotate back out to CT spawn without smoke, but nothing's really happening. Even out towards Longhouse, Almeza's been able to push himself forward very silently too.
Jump facing from the mid control as they start walking into the Longhouse. No one resisting from Team Spirit. They've got one player back in the elbow position of Magics. Smokes and mollies to try and get set up with the counter utility at the ready here for the Spirit side. 40 seconds though. forZe are the ones that have to make the move.
Oh, good timing for Flit that gets a couple of kills in from short. Looking out towards a mid position. Look at the info he's gathering. He even makes it another kill. What is that?
That came out of nowhere. SDY holding 2 picks back from Arsenal in the center of the site. Almaz has read his position and gets his kill. And SDY, no money in the bank. This time has got to save for realsy this time. Oh, what a disaster. And that mid-lurk from Flit became everything. Spirit were caught so far off guard.
So if anyone was wondering why Magix was looking at the wall, there's one of those one-way smokes that you can throw near the sort of rice bags up on the A side, and the only downside of it is that when players see that smoke, a lot of the time, the T side are just going to spam it, aren't they? Because they know what the one-way is. Flick getting away with way too much. How he was able to get 3 kills in mid and then get traded, I will not know. Magic's just trying to work on the one-way smoke, and they just spot him. They're even going to go for a hunt. If this orb falls, this is done. It might even happen. That is such a big hunt. They lose so much out of that. They have to eco now. That's going to be forZe getting to 15.
It's got to be an eco. They've got to play for overtime. If they force this issue, it'd be so risky for Spirit. And what was looking like a great comeback may still come to a head right here, thanks to individual efforts from Flit. How Dexter and Chopper lined up there. Something to be seen later down the road, I guess, in terms of a demo review. But yeah, Spirit. USP's a P250 pulled down by Dexter. If he's going to get anything done, it better be right here, right now. He's the first to fall, though. Flit will trade back Almaz alongside Jerry holding the crossfire. Those two players, easy mop up, easy 15th. Spirit, one final buy to go to overtime.
And I love how most teams, as soon as they see there's many USPs, probably just back off, don't they? They go, yep, we don't want that. forZe are like, nah, we want the eco frags. We're hungry. Just everyone trying to fight up against the eco pistols. forZe 3 rounds on the trot to get them up to 15. 1 away from beating Spirit on their best map in the pool.
What a shocker this would be to start off the series as well. I mean, Spirit to come into this so cold, but meh. Caught out in mid. That's just a basic mistake. Now 1 player left on the B side. If SDY goes down here, it's going to be game. He does hold on to a trade. Frag, but Armors are overwhelmed. And now B's completely open. Kenzie hearing footsteps of Chopper. Spray through. Seen still with the headshot alongside kills coming in elsewhere. And it will indeed be a 16th for forZe, who hold on to Dust 2 and steal it away from Spirit. The tier 1 team are in absolutely big trouble as we head to Ancient after the break. Shocker of a start for forZe as they take the best map in the pool off of Spirit. Dust 2 going their way. Dwagan, quite honestly, Spirit just looked lost for the entire first half. A 10-0 deficit before they got their first round on the board. And while things were looking to recover, it was just too little too late at the end of the day. 16-12 looking into Ancient, where the 2-0, I would say now, is actually on the table here.
It's not on the table. It's going to happen. I look at that whole first map for Spirit in particular. It's just an embarrassment to go down 0-10. Yeah, I will give them credit. They did come back and they did show some competitiveness. But how are you coming into an $100,000 event, getting invited into the quarterfinals, and when you get into the semi, you go down 0-10 on your best map of the pool? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they came into this one too complacent for me. We talked about that during the pregame, the idea that if either squad came into this match and were complacent about their approach towards this matchup, then that's where the other team were going to be able to punish them, and it felt so much like that in map 1. Dust 2 falling out of favor for Spirit, and now they're going to have to do some serious miracle work to try and bring Ancient in. Yes, we know they've had a couple of maps against some top-tier teams, but there haven't been many wins on the board. They've gone down to the wire against the likes of Heroic in the past, so I do feel like there's something ahead of it in that respect. But you consider how forZe are playing this map on the regular. They have some basis to work from for this. I see a 2-0 up for us. It looks like we won't be ready to get quite into the matchup just yet. Technical pause is being called before we get into the pistol. But, like, if you're Spirit right now, what are you thinking about to be able to turn this situation around?
Well, you're thinking that it's going to be tough, for sure, but I think mindset is going to have to be the big one for Spirit to come into this one and just realize that we actually could lose this series. They got 2-0 in the last head-to-head. They've already lost their map pick. Come in with a little bit of confidence and just try and get some of the star players a little bit more involved. Felt like Mir was quite quiet out in Dust 2. Magix was doing some heavy lifting. Dexter was really up and down. If they could try and position him in a little bit more of a way to find more impact, that comes down to someone like Chopper. But when you have a look at the track record from forZe, have a look at their losses. They're 3 losses out of their 9 maps against Agio, who arguably, or even, I don't even know if it's an argument to sake, they are the best team on Ancient right now we have here in Europe. They have got an unbelievable track record on this map. Their other losses were to Na'Vi and to Gambit. Everyone else that forZe have played, they've beaten them on Ancient.
Absolutely. And, I mean, it's a bit of a trend in the sense that, you know, up against tier 1 teams is where they've lost for the most part. You know, again, Na'Vi, Gambit, like 2 top teams in the world. And same could kind of be argued for the likes of Spirit to a lesser degree, a far lesser degree. Still a tier 1 team, however, and that's the one sort of like sticking point away from them. But again, in terms of the short-term game, considering how flat they looked on their own map, lots of favour forZe at this moment here, and I would be pretty impressed if Spirit were able to turn this around. I mean, to be fair, it probably would be characteristic of Spirit to be able to knuckle in and say, listen, right, we're one of the top squads in this tournament. We should be winning this comfortably. And here we are, down by a serious margin, and then from that, be able to find the wherewithal to turn it back around. But that hasn't happened yet, and you know, we're still a lot of doubts of whether it can happen at this stage.
I swear, it's just a curse for some of these tier 1 teams to come down to the lower divisions, isn't it? It's great for viewership, great for all the viewers, and for some of the tier 2 teams to play them, but it just seems that it's happening on such a regular basis that these tier 1 teams take the invites to these events, Jay, and then they just get slapped around, they get dumpstered. Spirit have really got to turn things around, otherwise they could say goodbye to even grand final placement.
And again, they were favourites of the invitees coming into this bracket. Pistol round going live now for forZe and Spirit. There's pressure coming in with the CT side immediately. 2 kills back and forth. Mir makes it a triple, tapping up all the heads. Chopper can follow suit on Zorti. And if you wanted to see a start from Spirit, that might just be it right there. Bomb dropped. Almaza so far opposition. Back on the B site. Magix ready for the face, ready for the kill, and ready to take the pistol for Team Spirit.
Excellent round. Love that positioning coming through from Mir. Beautiful crosshair placement. Chopper even pulls in a little bit of assistance. And for forZe, they've got a lot of confidence to just keep taking the fights, keep taking the jewels out from elbow. But Mir, just in a matter of his own.
So quickly in and of his own. 3 perfect headshots. Followed up by everybody else there from the Spirit side. Of course, they've taken that start. forZe already in a bit of trouble, but on the back foot early in previous contentions against the Spirit side, so there's very easily an opportunity for this Force Spy to turn it back into a bit of an economy game for their own build. AUGs and SMGs out on this one. Chopper makes it. Another 3K. Quadra not quite found. The bomb can go down for it, but still a man advantage here for Spirit.
It's going to take a lot for them to convert this post plant. Jerry has really got to try and step up. There is a backstab coming through in lane.
Also picks up one of the SMGs that were dropped there. Leads onto Mir's position, and Mir comes up with a pick, but Kenzie with a deagle back. 2 to his name, got to find 2 more. 19 HP to do so, though. He's going to be perfect. Not, unfortunately. So Dexter, kill found, 2-0 for Spirit.
forZe could buy up again, though. Bomb plant, 3 kills. Just try and force the issue. Try and see if you can break that economy from the Spirit side. And it was a decent round, I guess, in terms of the recovery. You're in a 2v3 post plant where already Kenzie is so low. You try to see if you can find a little bit more impact. Try and see if you can get some of those jewels to go your way. Spirit, though, early couple of rounds, it's looked decent from them.
Guns can come back for forZe, but they're going to opt for the Hero AK instead to get a little bit more money. Half buy for the most part. Again, it's pretty heavy for a half buy, but still should be seeing majority guns coming out for round 4 here for forZe. Upgrades and Eagles and Tech 9s. SMG for Chopper. Thinking of pushing very far forward in this, but Jerry, to maintain his life here, he's got one of only 2 smokes that they have to work with.
And we typically see a complete force in this sort of situation, but I like the idea of the hero AK. It's still one of those buys in which you can do a lot of damage onto your opposition. Almeza trying to have a walk up from ramp has not been seen as of yet.
Shot on from Dexter, not required. Magix picks up the kill instead. Kenzie can turn it back. Chopper now finally aggressive against Jerry. Avoids the man. Oh, timing. Footsteps heard. Then the backstabs inbound. He can adjust for it. Tech9 tries to get it turned around, but no. Chopper with his 2 picks back. The AK in the backlines of the site can smoke up towards that donut entrance, but the bomb's been left out towards main, so there's not even a chance for a bomb plant here for forZe. They've got to fight their way out of this position, and they're just taking damage. Suppressed by Spirit, and there should be a 3-0 so long as they stay alive.
And they're just hoping for damage here. They know they can't get back to that bomb, so just try and see if we can catch the CTs in on the side. Decent kill coming in from Flick. Can he follow up? No, no more than that. Just that one for his name. And that looked really like Chopper was going to get caught off guard. He is a lucky man in that situation. Flit heard the footsteps, tried to get back in to get that trade out from mid, but it just seemed like for forZe, they missed that window, and for Chopper, he did not fall.
3-0 start for the likes of Spirit. Another technical pause being called in. I can only assume it has to do with the issues that I think it was Kenzie was facing at the start of the map. It was very quickly resolved though, so not even that too far forward in that. So back into the game here for forZe. Pushed up to a very early back foot in this. The guns can be returned, so I imagine they do have most of the majority of the rifles. The bomb plant bonus might hurt them a little bit, but they do have the full AKs, limited utility sets, and head Kevlar, so for the most part, it's just the utility that's limited.
Jerry just trying to see if he can get a little bit of a face in towards that ramp position. We know that Dexter with the AWP was playing out to that B site in the last round. Chopper going for an aggressive lane push.
And we'll get sprayed up for it. Tagged to 22, and eventually to nothing as Flit opens up the round. The spray through on the man. And Zorzi follows suit on Magix as well, who aggresses very far forward. That's 3 kills now as Almeza can follow suit on Dexter, and everyone just falls apart there on the TT side. What was that round?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate one. Kenzie gets away with another one-on-one trade. It's one of those for an in-game leader where you're just frustrated. You're trying to make a bit of a play in from lane. You get spammed up. Magix does the same. He gets spammed up. Almeza gets an entry out to the site. At least those opening couple of kills, you can't really do much against that. SDY is just going to hold on for a little bit longer, but for forZe, that is a great return.
Start for them. Going to go hunting for SDY, I believe. Yeah, players coming in from main, from CT. He's going in from the donut angle, so you can make his way out towards mid and try and avoid most of their damage. And the players just to be able to escape dodge here, it seems to be the case. So, as you mentioned, first start for the board of forZe. And a hell of a round at that. That looks so confident from them.
And that just, it doesn't reset the money line, but it does make it very limited for Chopper and for Magix. So money isn't quite flowing like it did in the last couple of rounds. But you're right, it looked simple. It seemed like they were just working with the information. As soon as they got those early couple of like burst taps in through that smoke, they realized that CTs are playing in and around. Well, we're just going to start spamming our AKs, just try and get as many bullets into that smoke as possible. And an easy B side take comes in.
Ali Molotovs into that mid control as they play a bit more of a default stand. The AWP will still face in towards the back lines. Now he's doing damage towards Jerry and Zorti, so can be some early flash hit out from the Spirit side, but they lose that first pick on Dexter, one of the all-important rifles that drop here because they only have so many on this force invest round for the CTs. Player back over towards Wood for Martin. The back line's caught back by Almeza. Magic down at 18 points of health. Blind fire. Eventually catches that kill. Knew exactly where he was, had all the info to play with, and now the last 2 players just getting sprayed up of their own right. Damage done, not taken out just yet, but they're set to fall.
Just sloppy stuff from Dexter. No shoulder peek, no flashing towards the angle. And Zordi just holding it, isn't he? Just waiting for the peek in. AWP just peeks straight into it. Almeza, great sight line into the double entry. Kenzie's even trying to trap them in CT spawn.
That's what it'll look to do. No one's watching the B site. They're so focused on mid. And the rotations at B. AWP call off. Great kill. SDY. 1v5. You can get counterflanked as well over at Temple. He knows that. He's just got so much to do. Does see Kenzie at least. Now got high behind the boxes. I think it was around there somewhere, right? Or did they not just catch the information? Maybe might be actually be able to sneak away in and just hold himself together and keep this M4.
Oh, no, he won't.
Oh, no, it's Jerry. Can see, swinging. No, they get him. They get him. Nice try, but not to be in the end. Second to the board of forZe, and the odds at Pinnacle favor them pretty heavily.
Yeah, they do. And now we know the economy's been reset. On with that force in the last round. It's going to have to be a light eco round. And decent hunt there. They don't lose a massive amount. Almeza just double entry onto the site. Really, really simple. Not taking it that much of a risk at all, even in that entry path. And for forZe, decent opportunity for them to tie it up 3-3 now.
Should we clean that pretty effectively? USBs without Kevlar, without much of anything here for the CT line. Perhaps forward players being spotted. I know smokes. Jerry will continue to take the aggression and kind of give up the MAC-10 without losing much here for the T side line. Almas is going to be a man to grab that bomb as they just full send in towards the B site. Aggression here for Spirit. And it's just evaded by forZe. They've already made their way up towards the A site. They'll just grab that bomb, commit it, win the round.
Jerry just doing as much sneaking as he can, knowing that if he can farm even just a little bit of money with the MAC-10, it will make a big difference.
Orpin shot down. The goal taps forward perfectly for Zorti. And they're going about as well as Ecos tend to go here for the CT side. MAC-10 of Jerry still hunting for a second kill. Get this play around the corner. That could be pretty decent pickup. He's got backup around him, however, just in case. Seeing the shadow, and indeed the kill does come forward. Last man left, and Dexter known to the temple, or sorry, the K position, I should say. Temple's on the other side of the map, but gonna get overwhelmed and grab the AK regardless. So all four main weapons stay in for the forZe side. 3-all. Good start for Spirit. Better response for forZe. Rifles out for the gun round.
And this has got to be where Spirits just slow the whole game down. They've got to be able to bounce back. They can't just allow a streak to be set up by the forZe side, who seem to be getting a little bit of style going. And start farming up on money. Don't lose a massive amount against the eco. Money is still in a state where the NWP potential is not there for Spirit just yet. Going to see even Chopper going down to a FAMAS just to get a little bit more util in. No kits for the city side.
That might make the retakes a bit difficult, so I want to keep your eyes on just in case. Same with the Molotovs to the T-side players. Set their positions up. Flashes go over. Now in contact into the lane position, but so careful, so passive, so quiet, I want to say, from forZe in this round.
And they're still making sure they've got to lurk out towards that A main position just in case there is any aggression. For the most part of Spirit, though, it's actually been quite contact heavy on this CT basis. Not really many aggressive duels being taken. Even the shoulder bait for Chopper does not extend far enough for any damage to be done.
Yeah, 100 on every single player in server right now, so a little fun in general. We'll wait back with smokes and flashes to try and sell on something here towards the B-side play. 3 players are held inside of that side of the rotation, so forZe go out towards mid-control, so they're not committing the bomb down this angle. If they can get Mir at Donut, then they can find a way into the site itself, but Jerry gets caught for the first kill, so that's a frag to open up.
Just a lot of time wasting coming through from Mir, trying to put the util down, gets another kill through. The smoke should be traded by Almeza.
Now he can try and look to double up against SDY, but SDY maintains his life at 15 points of health. AWP looking in with the deagle on the part of Zorti, dropping the bomb for a second time, and it's all on flip. 1v3 clutch, and Dexter lets him go no further. Maintain the lead here for Spirit.
Oh, that whole round just came off the basis of trying to sell the B fake, trying to hold the rotations at bay. But for me, that one kill out in Donut and putting the smoke down, following up with a second, just allows so much time for those B players to come back in towards CT spawn, set themselves up to try and deal with the T side presence leaning out to the A side. And for Spirit, a much needed round to end the streak of 3 in a row from forZe.
Great stuff from Mir. Ultimately set up that round to go the way of the Spirit side. forZe unable to maintain their round streak, unable to maintain their position. All can gain it right back here if they can. One of these rifles, of course, AK's back out for the T side line, and damage done to the Spirit economy leaves an SMG for SDY above the rifles. Can be gained. Chopper also on a FAMAS, so limitations across the board here for Spirit. forZe playing in their main default.
Oh, jeez, our Maze has done this so many times. He could catch off the cave player, actually.
Try and do so... Trying away at the wrong moment. Oh, that timing. The worst thing possible for Almas. Jerry and Zorti will find a couple of responses and they'll try work in towards that A-site mid on rotate, getting the hell out of dodge as that bait player has drawn attention back and the A-site can be taken. The bomb can't go down just yet. Extra step with the AWP in towards Temple, however, he might be the main thorn on the side.
Jerry's got to keep eyes out from elbow because Mir's thinking about a backstab.
Hearing those footsteps as well. Jerry, thinking about util and everything. 40 seconds of the AWP finds its line in, and Mir, oh, it's a case of timing. They've got to commit that bomb pretty soon. Dexter finds a pick back. AWP caught back instead of AWP. And while the M4 might have fired, it's going to be out in the open for the plant. 3 kills for Dexter. Makes it a quadra. Another massive round for him. And just when Spirit need it most.
It seems like every now and then he just has those huge pop-off rounds, and the plant just going in so open. I don't know if they didn't realize Dexter was there, or maybe they thought that they were going to force him back and he was going to reposition, move back deeper in from Temple. Instead, he's still so aggressive.
I thought the big play was going to be the backstab, but no, once again, it's the AWP. Dexter had a bit of a mare over on that first map, and well, now in the early part of this one, it looks far, far better for Spirit's AWP. SDY tagged up a little bit in the early part of round 9, but not enough to do damage on the kill counts. Waiting for the AWP to lean up for Dexter. Smoke's involved. Man will be suppressed for now as Mir opens it up.
Good start again out from this donut position. He's been great at being able to get opening man advantages from here, even getting a little bit of support from SDY. forZe still putting emphasis down in mid.
Mir continuing to punish it here. Damage to Kenzie. Nade towards Flit. Oh, we get sprayed through it as well. Mir! This was unexpected. He knows exactly how to play this angle, and forZe were just falling for it every single round. Almas are the 3rd player to challenge this guy. The 4th, actually. Kenzie got tagged up. Still no CT player going to give up the angle. Still no opportunity for them to punish Mir. At long last, finally, Jerry. A couple of tags off towards him, and here they come. Wrapping the corner, trying to catch this man off. Not off to the right. Peeks to the left. Still gets the triple. Not quite the quadra, but so close to doing so. And Almas and Kenzie, they're dead to rights anyway. SDY just going to clean it up.
That's why they pay him the big bucks, don't they? Mir just having such a hold out from Donut and making it look so easy. Kenzie, best bet just to hold on to the AK at this point. No time. He's got the bomb on his back, but he's got no HP. Spirit getting up to 6 on their CT side. And, well, we do know that in terms of forZe, they've got a stronger T side. Spirit have got a stronger CT side. So, at least in the early bases, it looks decent here for Spirit.
Yeah, 6th to the board, the CT side. Maintaining their own and keeping things together. So, again, the early start is all theirs. Can forZe find a response here? It is their map pick. So far, the T side hasn't gone as well as they would have wanted it to. We know that in their history, they have had a bit more of a better CT basis. And right now, it does feel like it's kind of the case. Again, they have a lot of kills up towards Mir here in this donut angle, and all just 1-by-1 peaks.
Yeah, they've got to be able to find a different way of being able to attack the angle or just leave it completely isolated. At the same point, though, think about how many kills Mir has got through smoke at that position. Yeah, maybe the early contact has gone his way, but there's been so much more follow-up damage where he's just been able to use his utility and some of his spam spots, and he just keeps connecting.
This Chopper finding the kill alongside Mir. Open up in this round. The eco looks to get cleaned up easy. I guess more of a half fight, but same basis. All 5 players completely unscathed here for Spirit. The flawless round for the CT forces. And forZe, well, they have to buy back.
And this was probably the change around that Spirit really needed. Just going into the rest of the series is getting off to a good start. We know that out in Dust 2, they got absolutely shut down really early on. They were 0-10. They really did not even find a lot of success. I don't even think they found a bomb plant in any of those 10 rounds in a row. So coming out onto Ancient, it's felt so much more comfortable, and it just feels like they're leading from the front so far.
Guns back out of forZe here to try and start to take that lead away, or at least trying to close the deficit somewhat. Might have to give up the 8 on the rounds here for Spirit. Set in with the orb out on the part of Dexter, missing a shot, and Almaza can punish it. So forZe not letting mistakes go unanswered here for the Spirit camp. But now it's all AKs out for the rest of the CT players. So there's firepower to contend with, and already one of them has shown their teeth.
Yeah, rotations are taking a little while, but good counter utility for Magix is going to slow down this play from ramp, and even seeing a bit of a mid lurk. Now this time, Mir is actually left donut completely.
Tapping that smoke, or Magix. Tempting fate, unfortunately, does evade the spray through. kenSe going in for the backstab. They might have to wait for this to come together. They're not going to be that patient here on the Spirit side. Magix forces forward, gets Almaza to fall. And kenSe, if he wraps towards the A side, no, he's going to look towards Mir, and he loses that fight. Mir's ready for it.
Jeez, that is one impressive duel to be taken by Mir, and that just loses all of the advantage that forZe had on that ramp.
Now time's up. forZe are going to make their move in. 30 seconds. Orb on the crossfire. Mir gets another kill. Makes it a triple. And Mir stepping up to the plate right when they need him. zorti does get a couple of frags involved. Wrap the corner for the third man. Chopper the Orb. Lands his frag. Just holds it in of his own right and gets that 8 for the Spirit side. The half game for the CTs. forZe. Now they're the ones that are looking flat.
Yeah, they are. And can you blame them when you've got plays like that being made? Just a bit of an opportunity where it looks like out from candles, there's a great backstab coming in. And then all of a sudden, just when the timing comes through, there was a chance that he could have split into A, brought that bomb back over, but he thinks, okay, all my teammates are out from ramp, I'm going to try and get into the back lines. And Mir just looks at the right direction at the perfect moment.
forZe are forced back on the half-wide. Not a lot of cash available. Magix can get a kill in on Almaza very easy. forZe. Again, we know their basis is CT, but they're having a difficult time of that, holding this one together. Tech 9's in for the likes of Jerry. Will tap his way forward past those Molotovs. Flash inbound. Player still holding the crossfire. Expecting there to be some T-side presence. Player also being seen on kenSe's part. Jerry getting caught. Does get a kill away for kenSe, but the bomb gets dropped, and it's a 4 versus 2.
Yeah, they've recovered the M4, but even SDY just comes quickly out from mid. zorti just looking to take some more jewels out from cave. Trying to see if they can recover that bomb. Nice little kill coming through onto Magix, but shouldn't be any more than that. Dexter's now coming with the orb. Another swing attempt coming in for zorti. All just comes down to a matter of timing. Oh, does! Oh, what is going on?
1v1, zorti. Surely not. No, runs straight into the hands of SDY, so no chance of that one. Good effort, but not to be for the Deagle. For a second, though, you thought that play was on, and forZe, well, now a tactical timeout to figure where they go with this, because they have tried a lot of different strategies. None of them have worked.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more of a lean out towards the A site. We haven't seen many lurk plays just because they've always been being watched, really. zorti getting away with way too much. I don't know why they're giving up as many individual jewels as they did. Spirit, they probably need to even have a conversation with themselves to say, guys, we can't let that happen again. That was a very light eco and looked like it was going to get cleaned up pretty easily. Instead, they lose 4 players in that round.
Still on the round streak for the now for Spirit. Also have had their moment to talk. The guns available for them in this round, I think. Seeing a fair bit out for them. AKs, AWP. Double orb set up here for Spirit. Reset potential is a little bit lopsided. There should still be a rebuy here for the Spirit camp. Setting the set piece util to go towards the A site. It's SDY that holds the line.
With the orb too, they've got to flash them off. They can't just peek in dry.
I'll try to do so. Their flashbang bloom's a little bit late, but SDY still misses the shot, and kenSe's just a blind allows Mir 2 easy frags. forZe are falling apart again. As SDY gets involved, now got to take the orb battle against zorti. He gets forced back to rotation, and the backstab instead out towards mid could be everything. Almaza found over on the B play, and zorti 1v5. And this is the Spirit I thought we'd see on Dust 2. It's the one we're seeing here for Ancient. Maybe this 2-0 might not be as prevalent as we thought it would be. They'll go up 10-3 at least.
They're getting rolled at this point on T side. zorti has got a pre-aim out towards the left-hand side of A main. Is thinking that a player might be here. Mir, can he follow up with any more? Only gets that leg shot in. And what a turnaround this has been for Mir individually. He got 13 kills and 22 deaths out in that first map. He's now 16-9. He is leading the charge with kills on the server.
Spirit are leading the charge with the rounds on the board. 7 in a row thus far. Technical pause has been called in for this next round as well. forZe this time. Again, I can imagine it's down to the issues that they've had over on their one of their players' connectivity. I think it was Kenzie that had issues at the start of the game, but I trust in them being able to fix it up. Much like I trust in Trusty. When speed is the name of the game, don't let your playing experience be disrupted by slow payments. To use Trusty to make your payments flow quickly from account to account. No cards, no app download, and no registration. And you yourself can also place bets on this match for pinnacle.com/odds, and you can use Trustly as a payment method. So again, get that chance to go to Trusty and give it a decent shot. Zorti
that's
is
where
the man that's dropped
gone.
out.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's gone to Trustly. Maybe not to place a bet, but he's got to.
Not, yeah.
He's got to change make some payments. Thinks to himself, my brother, got to send him a little bit of money. There you go, Trustly.
A moment's respite here for them to try and figure out what's going on. Get him reconnected. In all seriousness, I imagine it's a connection issue. So we'll just get that resolved. Could be a momentum break here for the Spirit side, though. Again, up by such a margin. 7 in a row, 10-3 up to this board. And forZe need to find a response soon. They have had a very wildly difficult time about this. Spirit still not looking definitively better than them. They're pretty dead set even on the majority of these stats.
Yeah, forZe have never got a bomb defused. To be fair, though, we haven't even really seen a massive amount of bomb plants for Spirit, like 11-4. So even when you look at them not getting any retakes, it is kind of fair enough when we're going so far deep and we haven't even had that many bomb plants to come through. Out towards this lane default, we are seeing a lot of those like missed lane smokes to the D side. It does seem like there's a little bit more press, a little bit more aggression this time, though.
Force buy involved here for forZe in this round. They're going to try get the issue back out. Side players just watching in from the cheater position. Spirit just wait. Hold back and hold their own as Almas start swinging up. Incendiaries down, M4s and AKs on the crossfire. Hoping for contact, but seeing nothing at all. Jerry finally spotted. Spray, Chopper. Pick involved. Players being spotted back out. Flick gets involved. Magix and Mir crossfire hold the line. Magix doubles up. And last man after Zorti, 19 HP. Does get at least one good pick back, but no real clutch in for the man. So he held it together. 11-3. Spirit rolling here on Ancient.
And for forZe, they've got a very good CT side. They've been able to really develop that over the course of this map, introduced into the pool. But I don't know, even 4 rounds going into that second half, it's going to be really tough. They are at a big deficit, and it just doesn't feel like Spirit are slowing down anytime soon.
No, they just hold so much confidence. They look so good. Map throughout. He's saying his damage is done to Flit and Zorti. First through the Galil for Almas. They're trying to hunt for these T-side members and shout the kills against them. Magix waiting for his moment to strike alongside Degs set with the AWP in the back lines. And while he has had his moments in the early game, he has gone quiet in these last few rounds. He hasn't really been needed though, so up to the Rifles to hold their own. Chopper moves out that first chance. Magix gets the kill on Almas at the trade.
Dexter at least being able to answer back from that cave position, and for forZe, are they just going to continue to commit with this? Seems like it's going to be a wrap into Cheetah.
Oh, Flit with a jump face, trying to bait in Dexter to make a mistake, but no, the shot connects regardless, and they go ahead and walk past Cheetah back into mid control. Mir with the AK wins out his fight. 1 man left in Zorti. AK back up towards the top mid control. Will try for a rotation, but should be overwhelmed by the numbers game. Oh, that's a good crispy tap. Okay. Any more? Well, Mir's next to face. Doesn't even need to get a headshot on the man. He's on 19 HP.
And HG does not tap in. Zorti? Is this guy an AWP or a rifle? I'm not sure anymore.
No way. No. Okay. Had he got the shot on Dexter, I would have given it credit at the clutch, but no. Not to be in the end. 12-3 Spirit. This is completely different compared to Dust 2. Like, this is looking like the Spirit we thought we'd see at the start of the series, and well, I mean, we could be seeing both teams take their respective opponents' map picks, and Ancient unexpectedly could be falling in the way of the Spirit side. I had to give them a bit of credit given how close they went against Heroic during Cologne. I didn't think they'd win it, though. I genuinely didn't think they'd win this map.
I didn't think there'd be any chance, but it seems it goes both ways. Spirit have obviously been playing at a very high level here on Ancient, but forZe have just disappeared. As some of their individuals are really quiet, and now going onto their CT side, they need a miracle.
Oh, especially with Magic hitting shots like that, doing his best impression of his opponents, but Jerry gets to return. 4 versus 3, and forZe at least can hold back something. USP's continuing to hold back as Helmers gets tagged up to 5 points. HP back into the B side. Zorti with his USP out towards mid. Can't land any more. Good one tap. Smear comes up with a pick back on the walls. Jerry and Zorti and Kenzie do find that crossfire, so it's all left the chopper. Bombing his back 1-on-3. Almas is low, but that's it.
I like the way the city's played that. Rather than just giving up individual jewels, they're peeking together. The duo of Zorti and Kenzie out on that mid position was just able to rip heads. Chopper's got a chance of being able to isolate some of these picks, and with the rotation away from Almeza, he could get a bomb down a B and just get the extra money.
Being careful about this, Almeza and Zorti start leaning up. Clearing out the backlines, expecting a rotation, but no, Chopper's got the B site, so just planting it down and try so he can clutch it.
How slow is he, though? If he fakes it out, it's just going to allow more time, and now that kid's going to get picked up in lane.
Got the extra time for the defuse. Smokes have gone down. 30 seconds, and finally the bomb will also go down. Ahead of default. CT players going to split their way in. Almaza coming in from ramp. Chopper's going to have his back turned towards that man, though. Better look onto it. And the corner. Does he detect the gun barrel? Does he see the man? No, he doesn't. Perfect chance for Almaza to tap forward. And one angle, one corner left unchecked. Allows the pistol to go the way of forZe.
And they gave him a lot of respect, though. With Almeza leaving the B site and looking to get a little bit more information up from mid, it just allows the bomb plant to go down. So that now opens up the opportunity for Spirit to force up into the second round, get those rifles forward, just look to put impact on straight away. But Chopper gets the bomb plant in, doesn't quite clear out the majority of that ramp position. And for Almeza, that's an easy tap.
He's going to be patient about it, and then they'll come together for it. Ultimately, the round-winning play for his own part. Pistol goes the way it falls. The momentum shift can start to begin, but Spirit have a force buy with the bomb plant bonus. Galil's in on 4 players. Deagle also out for SDY. Set into the lane angle for Magics, or try and lean up past this smoke. But so far, so little has been gained.
Spirit making a little bit of a walk play out to the A side. Flit just trying to see if he can spam through. They've got to keep eyes on this walk. SDY could be able to find a window. The Org is watching for Kenzie.
Hoping for SDY to get up the ghost here. Deagle gets a goosh off somehow. Okay. And now Zorti gets overwhelmed by Mir. So the man that defended Donut for the longest time is now going to be down to attack it and get control. Set up to try go for the A play, but it's just those 2 players out there. The other 3 are still on the B half of the map. They're going to start the rotations, though.
Oh, man, great shot coming through onto Kenzie. And now this A site looks like it could be very vulnerable for just a complete XE.
They're falling away from the A site entirely, actually. I think they're going to gamble stack B and probably go for a safe call here, forZe.
Yeah, might be right.
Makes the most amount of sense given the circumstances. Spirit have just gained 2 easy picks. No damage done to the T side by Zorti or Kenzie or anybody else for that matter. Flit's going to start the rotation back. Gaps in the smokes will get re-smoked instead. The bomb can cross safely, get planted, and Chopper's still lurking back here at lane. If he catches the players on rotation, Flit will at least drop the bomb planter. That's already pretty decent. Second attempt by SDY also falls, and Jerry deals with that lurker, so suddenly the tide turns back to their favor. 10 seconds to get the bomb down. Mir's on rotation. Magic's hunting for Flit. Flit gets a triple. What's happened here? Spirit Mir, 4 seconds to plant the bomb. He's out in the open and suppressed that towards Donut. Oh, they bottled it. They absolutely bottled that round. Spirit should have had it in hole, but forZe with a steal.
I can't remember the last time. I'm lost for words, Jay. What is that round? How do they lose it? They've got a 5-on-3. It's a gamble stack to the B side. Flick gets 2 kills through the smoke to deny that bomb from going down. Oh my goodness. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, neither do I, man. That was just silly. I don't know how Spirit let that one go. That should have been their round so easily. Mir holding on to the AUG, at least a hero rifle to work with here in the half-buy round, but Spirit, man, like that should have been theirs to take. M4's coming out, crossfire locked, SMG for Jerry gets a kill on Dexter, and well, clean up time for forZe as their CT side is really going now.
And I kind of want to see an angry forZe, like one that just doesn't give a damn like they did on Dust 2 on their CT side. Remember the way in which they were just getting aggressive all the time, just taking so many fights, just looking to put pressure on, and I almost have a feeling we might see that here on CT again on Ancient.
forZe. Got the damage and try still hunt for that 2-0 that they are probably owed at this particular stage in the game. Zorti pick on SDY. Makes it 6 now for the forZe side. 6 rounds to the difference here between the Spirit and the forZe. The Pinnacle odds keep going to evens whenever they see forZe get momentum. I'd love to see how they rate their chances on the match win percentage. Right now, it must be starting to go back towards their favor, as Spirit will be down to the basic eco.
Yeah, Spirit. I'll be able to get those AKs forward. I know there was a very, very light investment out into that last round, so a chance now for the rifles to be able to do a little bit more heavy lifting. Magic's trying to make a bit of a play out to ramp. Is going to get spammed up early to 55.
Ahead of that Molotov, at least. Nades onto his position, and they're going to sail a little bit too far out of the wood control. No one's really on lane to receive that HE damage, so AKs. Setting for Magic's looking up out to the site, seeing nothing of the CT board. Smoke's involved towards the A site, meanwhile, as they try and siphon off those Molotovs and try to keep SDY at bay.
It's very silent for the T side. They haven't made any sound cues, haven't used a lot of utility. Almeza, oh, he's hunting. Thinks better of it, though.
Flash continuing over to suppress the T side line. Gets no info for it, gets no player to move forward. "50 seconds to the clock. Jerry going to fall back towards the B side. Going to hold it down directly because Spirit could go for the execution here. I mean, I say that. They've only got so much utility. They'll put it down right now. The smoke's being body blocked here by Almaza. Damage done to Mir. Magic's already tagged up and Spirit forced to stall.
Oh, this is excellent counter utility. That resmoke slows the whole play down. They've only got 2 flashes left on T side.
SDY at least finds a pick on Jerry. Now down to 2 players on the B side defensive. Third man's on rotation. 4th player out towards mid and Flip holds the spray through the smoke, trying to make it a triple. Not quite. Dexter deals with him. SDY and Matches come up with the trades. And Spirit finally finding the play. 1 on 3 now for Zorti. It's going to be a 13 for Spirit.
And that was a really nice and decent sneak play in for Magix. So much of that attention being brought over towards Cave that they don't look out towards that ramp position. Dexter even follows up with 2 in the round. And for Spirit, it just all came down to the entries. They put that util into the B site, they got re-smoked, they forced their way into Cave. All they had was a couple of flashes, and their entries, they were classic.
The first round of the T side, what could be the first of many here. Much like how Dust 2 went down, the team that picked it on the back foot significantly, but starting to bring back a decent comeback here. Can Spirit close it out in time? forZe eyeing back into this round. 2 downgrade weapons in Jerry and Almaza, so there's going to be a little bit of limitation for the forZe camp. Still enough to deal with Spirit. Can the AKs insert themselves?
The problem that forZe are finding is because it's so silent, because it's so default heavy, they're just never getting opening man advantages. Almeza, we saw him sort of go for this kind of press in the last round, but just thinks to himself, it's too risky to go that dry by myself.
Smoke's being set in towards the B site. XE again. Body blocked very easily. Imagine counter smokes involved for the CT line will suppress over here towards that ramp position, so Magic's forced to slow down once again. Got a bit of time left to them because they've got to get the 2 players on rotate. Sprays blind as Flip finds the kill on Magic's, kicks things off for forZe.
And they've got 3 on B. They've got a very good read of stacking up this B bomb site, and for Spirit, it seems like it just has to be a commit.
Dexter naded out. 40 seconds remain. Just waiting for their chance, waiting for their moment. Gary and Flit watching back here, and time is starting to run short here on Spirit. That bomb setting up another piece of utility, I think, out towards that K position. Smoke back down towards the other side. Now here comes the T-side players from us holding down the right. Overwhelmed very quickly by the likes of Dex. The chopper follow suit on Jerry and Cave, so it will be a 2-for-1 Spirit. But after bomb plant attempted, sprays through on Fit will catch the player behind the man, so the plant is successful. And forZe, well, they've already seen players backing off, they're saving.
All that comes down to Spirit is just getting a couple of cross smokes on the site and just overwhelming so easily. Man, forZe are making the right reads. They're making the right calls in terms of their counter utility. The only thing that they're not doing, Jay, is holding the bomb sites. It seems like for Spirits, these entries, they can't deal with it.
Does help when you have the firepower advantage again they had for Masters and such in that previous round. Kenzie does deal with Chopper on the exit frag, and had he held that together on the B side, then maybe that could have been a different story, but not to be. 14 up for Team Spirit. Falls up. I don't have a lot to buy here. I think they might eco or just drop SMGs.
You're in a situation where you're running out of opportunities. You know the loss bonus isn't great either. And the bottom line is Spirit have just been the better team here on Ancient. It seems like forZe, in terms of the readability, I give them a lot of credit, but in terms of actual site holds, they just have been overwhelmed. It seems like Spirit are just too powerful for them.
SDY with a pick on to Kenzie. Dexter follow suit on Jerry. Aggression punished. The CT is falling apart now here in round 21. Spirit. Maintaining all the control, and forZe just don't really know what to do here. It goes quiet again on the default. Spirit have already gained all that they need to.
And they could just bait in a mistake from here. Just run the clock like they typically have. Zorti is the only defender out towards the B site with this AWP. And for Spirit, they've got so many opportunities. They've got players in lane, starting to regroup and despawn. Seems like it's going to be a shift out to the A side and a shift into Almaze's position.
Upset. Zorti. Still seeing nothing of the likes of Chopper. That lurk play will not really be finding anything. Go towards the A site instead.
Smoke's down. You've only got to imagine Almaze needs what? At least 2? He's got to have a big round.
Cindier is a util to support it. Suppressing. 30 seconds. Baiting the flashbangs. Follow suit with the bullets flying away. He'll get tagged up. Turning away from the second wave, but the flashbang seeing the one man out of the gate, but Magic still gets the kill. Flit has had a chance to rotate to the back lines of the site, though. Molotov's in. The spray is just not good enough. No kills. 1 on 5. Zorti. Well, what more can he do?
He's just got to hold. There's no other option. And for forZe, again, they're slowing the clock down from Spirit. Another perfect re-smoke out towards A main. They rotate Flit over. And then both of those guys seem like they're in positions where it might get a little bit chaotic for the T side, but they still just get overwhelmed. And this AWP could even fall.
All 5 alive. Teammates for Spirit. Map point for them. And at this stage, you wonder how the forZe side even were able to hold their own over on that Dust 2, given how one-sided this Ancient has been. Very, very weird series. I honestly don't know how it's ended up like this here, Dweg.
Yeah, and maybe that is just the whole ideal of the CIS derby. We always know that madness happens. It can get quite wild at times, and a lot of question marks start getting posted in map 1 and map 2, but at least for Spirit, it seems like they've got a good opportunity of now just taking this map, going into map 3 on a very confident note. Dexter does miss that first opportunity, but there's aggression out from Ramp, and at least they're ready for it.
Now outside of A main as well, Kenzie will catch off the kill. Back Mir can respond towards the man. Looking for a bit more as Magic's wildly sprays here on ramp. 2 different sides of the map. Seeing action, seeing engagements. Jerry with the SMG, desperate to get anything out of that. And look at the damage he did to Chopper and Magic's. Just not good enough, unfortunately. They needed the kills. And the rotations to the backstab was also way too late to catch the bomb carrier. The SMG are flipped now. Set to do the central line of the defensive. Is going to have to try and stall the time as Zorti gets set up to the back lines here. Team Spirit are walking into the site. They're going to get a bomb down. A chopper gets this kill. It could be all over. As Zorti falls, it definitely will be. 16-6. Spirit dominate their way back into the series on forZe's own map pick. And we head to a third in said series. Overpass will be our final battleground to see who's going to the finals after the break. I feel like thinking back on how the El Clasico of CIS Counter-Strike has ended up going here, Dwayne. We can't be too shocked that we're in map 3, but the shenanigans involved to get there have been so weird. Spirit looking flat on Dust 2, forZe bottling it on Ancient, and now Overpass as the final matchup here to see who's going to go to the Grand Finals to take on Endpoint. And Dwayne, where do we go with this? How on earth do we assess this next map?
Well, if anyone's got one of those magic 8 balls, just give that a bit of a shake, and I think you'll get to know who's going to win map 3, because you have a look at the whole situation, and it has been such an odd series in the sense that we see a slow start from Spirit in map 1, Spirit Spirit lose their map pick at Dust 2. We go over to Ancient, and forZe just never really got going, never felt like they had an in that second map. Now going to Overpass, I still want to favor forZe only because of the track record recently on this map.
I don't know where to go with this one. I still want to feel like Team Spirit have the edge on the basis of how good they looked in that second map, finally getting it together, and now looking to try and dish out some damage onto forZe, eliminate them from the tournament. It's a 2-for-1, a 2-for-2 to start things off as Dexter tries and get Spirit into the pistol round. He doubles up onto Almazur and co. Flit and Zorti, last couple of players left. They cut off Chopper out towards that mid position, but Spirit are making their way back into the B-bomb site via Monster, so rotations are inbound real quick here for the Spirit side, and it's Zorti that catches the bomb carrier. SDY now with it all to do. He puts the smoke down on site and Plot's just behind it.
I just get a bit of safety, but the CT's hard slowing down out towards Monster. SDY even getting spammed up through the smoke, and Flit going to eventually find that headshot. Really felt like Dexter had brought that round back. Sloppy timing from forZe in terms of the bait and switch. We saw that Condor got opened up so late to allow Dexter to swing back around, follow up with a couple of kills, but then even Flit just gets undetected up at the end of bathrooms, and him and Zorti make that round possible.
Very, very back and forth round, however, from both sides. It was barely taken by the forZe camp. Could have seen a chance for Spirit to hold their own if they were able to get that kill on short, but many different positions where this round could have turned on its head. Dexter, I thought this 1v2 situation was going to be able to claim the advantage, but alas, it did not hold its own forever. Pistol gained by forZe. Spirit now with the guns. Galil's out, AKs. P-side presence held on this one with smokes. Inbound and partial. Magix will press the issue with the Galils, looking to burst his way forward against the CT players. Armor with the SMG, gets his kill back. Chopper with one. Flip can respond to it. It's a 2-for-1 that favors forZe.
And for Spirit, they're just desperate for a bit of a pick back, and even that for me, it's a bit unnecessary. At the same time, you can understand why he's doing it. He's a 3-on-4. They're looking to just catch one of the City players off guard, but just the awareness for Zorti, he's just pre-aiming the edge of that smoke. He knows that Mir wants it.
Ultimately coming alive for it in the 2v4 now for Spirit. forZe to make everything happen here on their CT side. CT basis is, of course, once again 60 seconds for them to try and outplay their position here. Spirit are being very careful on this.
Yeah, they are. And for forZe, they're getting a lot of map control too, a lot of information being worked out, opening up that whole connector area, going out towards short water, and now potentially seeing even a rotation from Flit up towards the A side. Zorti's the only one on A for the meanwhile.
Sit pretty for the time being. Wait for contact on the Spirit side. 35 to the clock as Flit then join the offensive line. We'll look out towards mid as ZorTy holds the crossfire here on long. He'll take first contact against those two players. Stakes, they're ready for this. Well, SDY isn't. Kill on the first and the second. Nice and easy with the triple. Didn't even look like a challenge there for the CT side. 2-0 start. forZe. Have an eco.
And just looking at the track record from Spirit, the last time that they had lost to a Tier 2 team on Overpass was back in February of last year up against Skade. So we are talking quite a long time. I mean, they haven't played a massive amount of Tier 2 competition, but since then, they've beaten every Tier 2 team on this map.
Only issue is the Tier 1 teams again. Talk about those big matches that they've had against some significant oppositions. It's Chopper that finds Jerry to kick things off. SMG back in for Kent C. It will dish out damage on towards Mir, and Chopper will also end up falling. So recovery is an issue of the first contact kill for the Spirit side. 2 for 1 with smokes in. Suppressed for the time being. Spirit happy just to sit here in short control and wait for over-aggression, or go for the boost up actually.
Don't see this very often on an eco kind of round. The player out from Grill's going to be seen. They missed the timing. Kenzie could just keep farming at this point. He's already got a fair bit of money in the reserve behind him. See if he can get a couple more kills.
Burst through Magix gets this kill on Kenzie, so there is only a 3 versus 3 involved, and SMG of the T side can start to do some decent damage, but not converting a man advantage, and definitely not converting the round at this stage. 50 seconds. Rotations. Be inbound here for Spirit. They'll make their way up into the T-Con area. So they can play for an A campaign. 40 seconds to get the bomb down.
I don't really see too much more happening than this. ZorTy could get caught off just really wide out for this long position. See the information. I like that from ZorTy. Give a bit of a tight angle. Don't really wide swing the angle. Be able to get a couple of kills. Can he find a third? Just the positioning. Yeah, ZorTy's still committed to a lot of those fights, but he's not taking it right to the right-hand side. Instead, he's getting back to cover, making sure he's tightening up that angle and just not overexposing himself.
3-0 start, of course, for forZe. Once again, it's pistol and conversions that hold themselves together. To start out for the underdogs in this matchup, Spirit. They have to make a concession here against this one. It will be the guns coming out, of course, in this next round. AKs across the board. See where to go with the early contact. Faces in towards short and underpass. No casualties just yet. Fire has been put down by both sides, and the bullets and the flames themselves. And the AWP of ZorTy will find the pick on me to start.
He's starting off well, isn't he? 8 kills, 0 deaths, and he's even got the confidence to re-peek back in towards that monster angle, seeing nothing. And now opening up the short position, they start flashing forward. They're taking a lot of map control here on the city side, towards this B side in particular.
Really trying to force the issue against them. Can't see. You know, but SDY is reload involved. Doesn't see anything of the CT force forward though. forZe very happy to play behind this smoke and just not bother aggressing. Spirit are going to have to make the hit soon, and it looks like they're leaning towards this B play.
And I think this is the right way to play for forZe. They did this on Dust 2, just played with a lot of confidence, played with a lot of aggression. We didn't really see that same sort of style on CT side for them on Ancient. And here on Overpass, they're taking a lot of aggressive duels. Nade going down out for that short position, just going to be evaded by the Ts, but it's got to be a B regroup, especially with 35 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, that nade's there to counteract any boost positions. The players being on the short control itself is not going to be affected at all by it. It will be affected by the timer though. 23 seconds. Magix faced in a pod. Jerry lines them both up, and now it's a 5 versus 2. Spirit hitting another brick wall. They've got to save these AKs here. There's no choice in the matter, and I'm already starting to see the same sort of flat-footedness that we saw from Spirit over on Dust 2. The same issues that they had, the same problems in terms of getting confidence on the board. The numbers aren't there. The start is not there. It's 4-0 now for forZe.
Even just that decision making, if you're Chopper, you're thinking to yourself, what has just happened there? So they lose the opening advantage to an aggressive AWP. And then normally, if you want to get aggressive towards Monster, there's a flash, or there's a re-smoke, or there's something, they just dry swing, the two of them, just no information, no footsteps, no util, and Spirit just go, oh, we're just buggered here, aren't we? We're trying to reposition out for Monster, we're trying to regroup, and all of a sudden we just get swung on.
Taps through the AEG of Jerry. A wallbang damage onto the T-side line. Instead, it's Almas that gets tagged up initially over towards the mid-position of birthday party. Incendiary's down will drive the backline player away, but Magix can still hold his own back here in this AK behind sandbags. Of course, force investment for everybody else. Set in with the flashes over, a boost up for the M4. We'll see what's going on in Mir. We'll be caught out for information.
Check out Almeza, though. This aggressive move is just going to allow a gamble stack out for the B side. They could just leave 4 players on B.
Flip with a wallbang spray at last gets the likes of Mir. Magix will also end up falling to Zorti, so 5 versus 3. Smokes up as the T-side players fall back out of position. Almeza. When does he swing out towards the likes of Chopper? Can Chopper catch that kill? Will Almeza find a 2 versus 5? Well, right now he's looking back into his teammate in the back lines. Dexter getting caught. Chopper baited in. Now seen there with a shoulder bait. Almeza has information. Can he get his second kill? We look back towards the AWP's position, or the Galil's position, I should say, for SDY. Your 4 versus 2 scenario. forZe up. Still the man advantage.
And look at what they're doing with it. They're aggressing right out from Monster. SDY's got to pre-aim the right-hand side. I don't know if he will.
Kenzie in a very, very tight angle as well. It's such a wrap that's going to come through, and his head ducked down. Gives SDY no info. No chance of holding that kill. Chopper with a clutch to hold. He gets at least 1 frag, but down to 4 HP for the next 3, and, well, 15 to the clock. He's got to save again.
God, they're even hunting. They're even slightly moving forward, trying to see if they can maybe drop Chopper after time. But my goodness, that whole round from forZe was just so intelligent, wasn't it? The way that they push Almeza aggressively up from party gives them that early info. He's not hearing any nades. He's not hearing any footsteps. He hasn't seen anyone. So they know that there's no presence out in Park, no presence out in Fountain. So we'll just stack up B. We'll have 4 on B. Then they find that first pick. Then Almeza makes a move. He's wasting time. He gathers information on where both 2 of those T-side players are. And then Kenzie just uses that information, aggresses out from Monster. Everything has got a protocol, and everything is down to pinpoint precision from forZe.
Oh, boost up. Over on the truck to try and allow an AWP to look over towards the T-spawn area, but that's not exactly a great boost. You have to have a very specific angle on the T-side line. No one's going to give up that position here for the Spirit camp. They're just going to walk their way in towards the short control. Going for another heavy invest round here. Nades up, damage done. Flashes over as the T's to go for a very early execution here. Spirit will lose Magix to start. SDY holding on, seeing players at water, sawing a player also out towards the toxic barrels, and Kenzie does get overwhelmed for his trouble in the midst of that smoke. So 4-on-4 scenario. Almeza looks to find a couple of trades, and indeed he gets that 1 frag, but overwhelmed by running out of ammo. 2 versus 2. The AKs of the CT side continue to hold their own alongside the M4 back towards jungle. Flit, tapping and bursting. The bomb's yet to commit here. Tag up damage done to the Tech 9s. Eventually one player's going to burn a slow HP. Still Dexter comes up with a Tech 9 tap forward, and Jerry struggles, allowing Chopper to finish off the job and get that first round here for Spirit.
Just a lot of sloppy sprays coming through from forZe, just getting overwhelmed by the pistols. And for any of the viewers at home, in case you don't know about that boost, the only way you're going to get a pick with that 3-man tower is if someone for the T side is jump throwing one of those mollies out towards a short position. If that jump throw is not going out, you're not going to be able to catch anyone. And I guess for forZe, having that 3-man boost on A meant that at least rotations towards the B side were slow. They're going to try it again.
But again, no angles given up. Very, very specific, very, very situational 3-man boost coming in from Spirit, and it's just not quite working. P90 out for SDY, gets Kenzie, kicks things off on the right foot. Jerry can turn around a decent frag of his own right. Mir can get a responsive, so it will be a 4 versus 3 for Spirit, making it 3v3. However, the Molotov burns away Magix, and he drops the bomb in water. Can get picked up by Mir, who's already back there. Will pass it up to the site, leave it to his teammates to get the plant, but he's fallen. Chopper now down and out. Dexter responds to a 2-on-2. AK in water, overwhelmed by Almeza, and the M4s taking on for the CT side. Dexter makes it a triple, and again goes big just when Spirit need him to.
Jeez, they're relying on their clutches, aren't they? We saw a 1v1 out from Chopper, now seeing a 1v2 coming out from Dexter. And forZe, again, very slow getting in towards that B site, being able to drop that bomb in a bit of an awkward situation. Looked like they were recovering it in tool, but now a position where there's no money, they're going to have to eco. Spirit, these rounds are really down to the wire.
Really all down to Dexter to become the difference maker here for the likes of Spirit. 2 rounds on the board now, back down to the eco basis here for forZe. Magix very aggressive here. The AK Zorti Headshot seen, Kenzie now known, still gets killed off for it. Magix takes the double. Got to back off here, 10 points of health, needs his teammates to take forward face instead. And the AK of Mir can also strike back towards this short control. Takes one frag, does eventually get that second, and now almost up in a 1v5.
Yeah, Spirit, easy take of the B site, and I am getting to a moment where I'm thinking to myself, when was the last time Spirit had any influence towards A? And we have just seen B take, after B take, after B take. I wonder when forZe just start stacking 4 players on B on a rifle round and forget the boost.
I mean, I don't think they've hit B, sorry, I don't think they've hit A at all in this matchup.
No.
I'm thinking about it. I think the pistol round went to B side. Yeah, pistol round went to B side. Everything was on the B side. So forZe, I mean, in theory, there's a notion of them being able to figure out that with the boost that they had in play, but even so, not able to catch any kills with it. I think it might be right. Why don't they start just going for like 3 or 4 man stacks with one contact player out towards mid and connected position, for example? That might have to be a thing to consider. Because now Spirit are starting to bring the rounds back here. And this default will not be sent towards that B side. But as soon as I say that, I call that strat. That's exactly what they go for here. Zorti, AWP, frag not landed on Magix, gets a tag together instead. Start out, they also press the T sideline as the CT start pressing the issue at Monster, and SDY reads it, transfers its spray to Jerry, and kicks off the round.
It's unlucky there for Jerry. SDY just really composed with that spraying from Monster, and for forZe, now they're taking the approach of getting aggressive out towards short water, but they need eyes on Monster itself.
Utility set in and ready. Kenzie watching with the M4 AK of SDY. Looks down range at short pipe. Still does not see any CT presence here. forZe being very careful on this here.
And not making any noise too, up from that city side at that aggressive short water position. But it seems like it's a little bit more of a gamble stack on A now.
M4 of Kenzie turns into a 4 versus 4. Swing back, AFK takes the way too close enough angle. Flit also getting dealt with towards that short angle, so it's all left to Almazar on the site defense, and he gets just domed instantly in Spirit. Well, we're seeing the old Spirit that we expected to see in this one. 1v4 for Zorti. He's got to hold on to the AWP. Things look far, far better here for the T side.
Yeah, bit of a moment where it just seems that for Spirit, they're starting to find a lot of success with these B takes, and for forZe, we're just not seeing the adaptations.
Yeah, it has been a bit difficult for them. Good shot in Zorti, at least gets the likes of Magix. Didn't see the second player right around that corner. Yeah, Dexter will be able to find the frag on a man. Take out all presence here for forZe at 5-4 to the board. It's still going to be a lead for the CTs, but I don't think it's going to last much longer here to egg. There's not a lot of cash. There's no real buy.
And it has felt in this series as well that it can be sort of quite momentum-based, that we saw big streaks of rounds going one way, big streaks of rounds going the other, and you've got to wonder how forZe are going to be able to sort of adapt to this one. Spirit just continuing to put emphasis out towards the B side over and over again, and even on the eco, they're only putting 3 on B. This is a straight rush.
Overwhelming, easy as that for the likes of the Spirit side. 5 all to the board. forZe just letting that one be a bit of a throwaway in this one. The M4's out, the AWP will come in for a quick bite back on this, but 5 in a row for 5 in a row. Both teams kind of mirroring their starts here, Dwayne.
And this can't just be us thinking that it's just B side after. I don't know how we're not seeing more stacks from forZe out to B. I don't even know how Spirit have never called an A side taker. Yeah, the occasional round here or there. They showed the early presence from T-Con, but they've never even got close to the A side.
Yeah, it just felt like such a one-site map essentially from the likes of Spirit. Played out A defaults, but they've always accounted to the B site every single time. Up in Zorti gets the kill on Magix. Gets a start out for forZe. They're going to get Molotov out of position and hunted down. They're going to jump straight through him towards bottom. Khan, and Zorti's back's turned, thinking he was safe to that smoke, and he fought wrong. How ballsy was that for Spirit?
Oh, Almace has got the backstab, deals with that first player. Can't really rely on a massive amount of information. Dexter's got eyes up towards A, waiting for a jump spot.
Three wraps the corner. Chopper gets dealt with. That's Alma's up. Now leaving 2 players left here for the Spirit side. Dexter finds a response. Gonna grab the bomb as well past Divider. No CT can be seen. Neither can they see him. 40 seconds to the clock, and they're still got that B presence. They're going to commit towards B for another round here for Spirit. I mean, right now that makes a lot of sense because they got that presence. And yeah, Dexter will rotate.
And they do have Jerry very, very close towards the monster wall with a couple of flashes. Time is relatively low. They need to get a bit of a move on, and even rotations could be quite slow from Kenzie in particular.
Dexter in mid. A lot of work to do. 13 seconds to do it. Jerry going to wait back at Toxic Barrels. Hide until the time is right. You hear the footsteps. Tapped up still by Mir. Gets into a 2v2, but they're going to get the bomb down right now. Kenzie finds his backup. I think he's just going to have it in time. Yeah, a second to spare, but Dexter now got to clutch it. He's been amazing in his backline position so far. Has seen Flit. Got to account for Kenzie. Wins that fight down to 1 versus 1. Catches him damaged up as he drops out towards water. And the second phase for Dexter makes it 3 kills and a lead for Spirits.
How do they keep clutching these rounds? The bomb just going down in time. The barrels player just being seen and just tapped up. Spirit, I don't know how they've won so many of these 1vx situations, and you've got to imagine that's frustrating from forZe, knowing that, what, 3, 4 rounds out of the 6 that Spirit have won have all come down to clutches.
Yeah, Dexter has been truly the clutch master of this game, and Spirit would be nowhere near this kind of lead if it wasn't for him and his efforts. Tactical pause called in by forZe. Losing 6 on the trot to Spirit. They've got to change that now, but they haven't got any money to do so here.
Just a light eco, work with that max round loss bonus, and give yourself a good buy going into the next. But forZe, it seems that they're maybe getting in their own heads a little bit, struggling to be able to put consistency up. And for Spirit, just take it 1 round at a time. There is a very good chance that they could just keep extending this streak, especially knowing that they're not up against the best of buys in the world.
Spirit on their own on the defaults here. Smokes down a standard. Magics. Dodge doing some damage initially on the rest of the T-side basis. It's Zorti and Almas that get tagged up. Almas that can tank this nade. Does to a certain extent, down to 52 points of health, and finding a response tag on Chopper, but no kills in the early round here for either team.
Yeah, Spirit regrouping out towards that B site once again. A lot of util for them to work with. Kenzie is slightly aggressive out from short water. Needs a little bit more support.
Eagle standing, flashes forward. Spray through the AK, and Magics will find the pick on Kenzie. Great opener. Rounds involved for forZe. Jerry being joined by his other teammates. They're going for a full send stack into the B site.
That's a good read. It's pretty obvious. Spirit, 40 seconds left on the clock. I'm going to be running into everyone here.
Mir with a pick. SDY follows it up. Zorti caught next up and Flip. Old Deagle held out towards this jungle position. We're looking to catch off some overly aggressive players, but other than that, 7 for Spirit, and what a turnaround this has turned into here for the T side.
Yeah, it's one of those maps, at least one of the halves so far from Chopper, where the calling is just so poor, or at least it's so simple. Like there's absolutely no tactical depth to this whatsoever from Spirit. It's just B take after B take after B take, default after default. And I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know if they just know that it works, so we're just going to keep doing it. But I literally cannot remember the last time I saw 2 top 30 teams in the world battle each other out, and the A site has never even been hit once.
Yeah, this has just been time after time. And the key thing is as well is that, you know, Spirit aren't just like full sending into the B site with B defaults and
Yeah.
rushes. They're still playing out like mid defaults. So
Yeah.
if you're forZe, you can't just say, screw it, let's just stack up B, because if they play a default, they see nothing over towards the A site and they push the A site hit, then you're going to have to go for a retake essentially. And depending on how much damage they do on the B side default, that's still going to potentially leave you at that disadvantage. So not a risk you can take here for forZe. Like, they're just really out of options.
They might have to. There's 7 rounds in a row being lost. Great shot coming through from Zorti, aggressive. Dexter looking for a little bit of a pick back, and finally forZe at least have a bit of an advantage to work with in the early portion of the rounds.
They can win more fights like that and convert them into rounds, and maybe that could be their way in. Look at Almaza, wrapping right in against Dexter, but Dexter turns away. Still gets caught by the M4 anyway. 3v5. Making it 2 as Almaza turns up on SDY. And Magix and Chopper. Oh, no real wherewithal, no comprehension of how this has all gone wrong.
A beautiful read to the aggressive play. The slow walk push coming through for Almaza is trying to get baited by Chopper, try and see if he could find a bit of a trade back. But 2v5, we haven't really seen Spirit in this kind of a position for a while now.
Taps forward, burst up with the AK, flashes in. It's held away as Magix gets a kill on Flit. Flash over the sandbags, hoping to peek into the site itself. And Chopper finally sees a man of Kenzie, gets it to a 2 versus 3. Trades coming inbound and turning it to a 2v2. In fact, Spirit, this B site here. Is this going to work out for them? The bomb can go down. The AWP trying to peek up close here. They've tapped it. Chopper above that smoke. Still not being seen, though. Zorti's got the bomb carrier. And it's all to Magix this time to clutch it. Sees that AWP, and Zorti just wins the fight. But even so, Spirit brought that back to a 2v2 from a 5v2.
Yeah, they turned that round in their favor pretty quickly. But Chopper just overextending in that sort of a situation, trying to get up on top of the default position, look to take a fight in heaven, and just drops that bomb, makes the whole situation a little bit more difficult for Magix to kind of work with. And the streak just gets ended. Spirit, gotta wonder to them if they could just bounce back instantly.
They lost 7 in a row, so it would be nice if they could do that and start to get their own rounds. Their own lead at the turn of the half. That's still possible for them. Passive positions from Spirit now as they play out a much more A-center default. And they have gone for the stack here, forZe. 4 players total on the B site. 2 aggressive, 1 center site, 1 heaven. 1 player long and Almaza has left the mid control completely opened up. The rotation inbound just in case here for the likes of Flit.
Yeah, coming up to the A side, Bathrooms and Banana is relatively exposed, and for the most part, Spirit, they're being silent, they're not using their utilities, so even for Flit and Almaza, they're getting no info that there's a play to the A side.
Moment of spray through, Almaza picks up SDY, starts things off. 50 seconds left on the clock. And the smoke, soon as they have gained the A site for the first time in this game, it's a retake on A, and Magix, they're back to the man advantage, but Jerry sprays through the wallbang and catches him immediately on the transfer, so an advantage for forZe, and Chopper holding for contact. They know he's there somewhere on the truck. Zorti might have seen him. Nades up, he still gets the kill. Looks back towards the main CT forces coming in from Bank and Dumpster. 3 on 3. Time's running short. They got Kits in. Player close to sight, back at the other side of the default boxes. Kenzie gets 2 kills for it. Chopper now got to hold off. 2 HP to do so. Time is against him. He still finds the pick on Zorti's part. The defuse will come through, and forZe will equalize again.
Chopper made that really difficult for the retake. He just was not peeking at all for that truck position. Just trying to make sure that the rest of his teammates are pulling the distraction. Unfortunately for them, they're just not quite getting the trades onto the site. The retake starts coming in. They get onto the bomb. They get the defuse on. forZe, it hasn't felt in this first half from either team like it's been very competitive. But at least the scoreline does. It's 7-7.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it, right? Because you just know, like, 5 rounds in a row, then 7 rounds in a row, then a couple rounds back from forZe to equalize. Like, it's just been a very weird game when it comes to the actual complexion of it. Yes, we will be seeing an 8-7 half at the very least, but like, who do you favor in this one? it's so weird to tell. It's so weird to see who's come out on top. And like you mentioned, it's not felt competitive, but it has been.
Zorti just trying to see if he can aggress, create a chance out from the short position. The molly, oh, the smoke just goes down way too late. Magic just burns.
That's not okay. That's really not okay. Boost up still for the likes of Flit, looking down into the likes of Mir. Catches that pick. Still trying to do some further damage here for the forZe side. Dexter's on 10 points of health, so he's easy to fall. It will be Chopper and SDY that will be the main issues for them. We have seen players bring things back from major deficits in the past. 50 seconds as the T side try and equalize this man advantage, but still flashed away from forZe. Kenzie, peek back.
Oh, they just keep getting flashed. They can't even get out of this monster position. And for forZe, they're not really getting a massive amount of information.
Push forward to the smoke put up there by Jerry, dealt with by SDY. Kenzie still sprays back, got a teammate in Flit. Back at water, AWP working into that short control. The Orpro, the CT side, not even be aware of this. Big gap to find. And now a 3v2, favorable of Spirit. Bomb, attempt to get planted. Chopper trying to bait in the likes of Kenzie to make a mistake. Sees that headshot, gets that kill. Chopper with a wide face, goes falling. And the Orp can't do anything. It's 8-7 for forZe as they claim the CT side.
God, that was so slow for Spirit. It meant that forZe could just have everyone out on the B side. It was a decent rap play coming through from Dexter with that AWP, but as soon as they have the advantage and they fake out the bomb plant, they just continue taking fights and straight into the hands of Kenzie. 8-7 at the turn of the half. I'm with you, Jay. I really don't know which way this is going to go. If anyone does, then they're the expert, I'll tell you that much.
If you do know where you can go, then you can go to pinnacle.com/odds and you can place a pound on that. Beautiful, beautiful segue there. Yeah, truly, like, you can't put a finger on it. You can't put a finger on it at all. Spirit and forZe having moments of brilliance and moments of clarity, and then the other moments of just decimation against their name. Spirit onto the CT pistol, try force the issue back on forZe. Can they claim a confident start in this half? I mean, they might need it at this stage. Tapping forward, the pistols out towards long will tag up Zorti. Kenzie in towards underpass that could see something, but so far so little has been seen.
Well, he heard two players, so he's got information that there's a couple of players in con, and if this timing works out, he may be able to catch off Mir just looking the other way.
Dexter catches a frag. Mir does get caught by Kenzie thanks to the bait and switch with the attention firmly drawn towards Monster. And now they know there's a split play involved. The CTs on rotate will be a little bit late to the party. Chopper, a bit to do here on the defensive line. He'll get that pick against his name. Flick with 2 to his own part. Kenzie will drop back. SDY gets it to a 2 versus 2 now. Magic's still on the rotations here as SDY works in from short control. Flit is extremely low here in this, so Magic's got to get the shot on Jerry, and indeed he does, and Flit gets overwhelmed by SDY. 3 kills to his name as Spirit find 8.
forZe did a lot right in that round, but Spirit just looked better when it came to that retake. We saw the way in which the bait and switch comes out. They deal with Mir. A couple of kills come down onto the site itself, out from Flit in particular, but SDY just being able to just get pick after pick, working in on that retake. The bomb plant does go down, so it does allow a forced invest to come in. And even in terms of the kills, we're going into the second half of map 3J, and it's 217 to 225. There really isn't a massive difference there.
Again, this series has been so even every time. Spirit. Same with the guns, of course, against the forZe camp who have forced the issue back here. They've got an AK on Flit at least. Khalil's on, Deagles, Scout. That's still not a massive amount. It's still at least a decent gun basis to work from, but it's Dexter with the AWP that surprises first and foremost. Zorti, not expecting that. First manifold.
No flash, no nothing, just a dry peek into the long angle, and they get punished for it. Chopper just on the other side of the bathroom smoke. Ooh, someone's crept in.
MG falling away from position for now. He'll wait with the AWP on the crossfire of Dexter. I think I wanted to be the first face. So good shot. 5 on 3 now. Gain making it 2 as the bomb gets dropped and Dexter picked up a triple. That's round done.
He's just had that X factor in rounds, hasn't he? Just the multi-kill potential, the round-winning plays, and they're just going to keep peeking in. It's too easy. They don't have the util, they don't have the numbers. They go, right, we're just going to keep fighting. We're going to hope that he misses one of these shots and we'll get a trade-off, and it just is not happening whatsoever. Jerry does find one kill up towards the long position. Okay, missed shot, doesn't get the ace.
Would have been his second ace in the series as well, so trying to get rid of that AWP, but missing his chance, so therefore the kill. He return and they'll grab that AWP. That being said, though, technically, if you throw that over the head, it actually falls back down.
See that
towards,
clip?
Graffiti.
Yeah.
So,
in CIS, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's a CIS mistake to make, so you know, there's always that. But Dexter, man, what a round from him. Again, he fired 4 bullets, got 4 kills. 5th one missed out, sure, but even so, like, just impressive stuff for him. He's really come alive here on Overpass.
Yeah, he has, and that's been the difference maker, I think, between Dexter and Zorti, is Dexter has had those huge rounds. The ones where he gets a 3K, a 4K, and they swing a lot of momentum. Yeah, he maybe hasn't been as consistent in terms of picks in rifle rounds as Zorti has, but that's been the difference between the two.
Eco base is here for forZe to work with. Up in for Dexter, gets tagged up a little bit by first base. It's Zorti actually that finds that first kill on SDY, and now Dexter's a bit more pressured. He's back up to get here pretty soon. Chopper also takes some damage, and he goes down. Dexter turns fire, but a 4v3 scenario that favors forZe. The bomb's yet to commit here. They get that much, at least they get some bonus money involved, but now Mir starts chiming in 2 versus 2, makes it a triple up. Quadra found the headshot. Execution worthy, but damage was done to the CT side.
That was a bit worrying for a moment there. It seemed like forZe was just going to completely overwhelm that A side, get the bomb down, and potentially even win that round. But Mir on rotation up from B does a very solid job from the truck angle, getting away with 4, getting Spirit up to 10, getting to double digits now.
Great fragging, of course, for Mir's part to deal with this eco basis, disallow any further damage to come through against the CT line. So 10 to the board, forZe up. Tactical timeout taken again by, I think this is like their 3rd or so? No, the 2nd, actually, tactical pause taken by this Russian team. Got to figure out where they go from here. Still 2 down.
Thinking of 10, bet 10 euros, get 10 euros. Pinnacle, check them out. Beautiful odds. Keeps popping up on your screen. Keeps going very back and forth, I will say, over the series. And I guess that makes sense because it has been one of those games. forZe just trying to see if they can bounce back in a deficit of just 2. The Spirit, even their economy line, I guess with how much damage was done in that last eco, or the anti-eco, they don't have a massive amount in the reserve.
Yeah, cash is low. Reset is on the table. Oh, Mir, very close in this smoke. Jerry could walk right past his man. Mir's going to try and find a bit of an angle to work with. That ultimately costs him. Kill found of the AK to start. Man advantage for forZe.
That's such a high-risk play, isn't it? When you try and play in and around the smoke, you've just got to hope that you can get the better timing and the better repositioning than your counterpart. And for Jerry, he's got to unlock Spirit now, thinking about a heavy rotation over towards the B site. Boost could come through for Magics. They need a pick back.
Up and over. Jerry, ready, can't see. Gets his kill. Jerry follows suit on Chopper. 2 left standing, 1 left standing for Spirit. Overwhelming force forward of forZe and SDY. Oh, just got to save, isn't he?
Yeah, no real chance here. And they're kind of on double eco status, aren't they? 1,400 loss bonus. Magix has got no money. Mira's got no money. Chopper and Dexter have hardly anything, so this should be a buy-up around the M4. forZe, you almost wonder to yourself, who is going to be sort of the counterpart to the big fragger of Dexter? Flit has been really impressive with some of these entry kills out to the B site in particular, so maybe he might start leading the charge.
Leading the charge to their Spirit in the scoreline. 9 will go up for forZe, so they're still 1 away from taking us back to evens, but even with that in mind, Spirit and a lot of potential in terms of the nature of their rounds and how they've been able to return a forZe so effectively. The force buy should be out here. Single round loss bonus. It's double eco status for a lot of players. So seeing the scouts coming in for Mars also dropped back. M4 and Chopper. Not a great buy.
God, Dexter, what's going on? Put all those clothes in the suitcase, mate. We don't want to see that. forZe trying to see if they can just bring this round back and bring this whole comeback into a tied-up scoreline. And honestly, in terms of just the scoreline itself, this could be the closest map we've had in the entire series.
I mean, on a technicality, because, I mean, 16-12 is kind of close.
Yeah.
But even then, that was off the back of a 10-0 star. I mean...
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird one, again, technicality. I don't want to make this series any more weird, I'm not going to lie. Spirit, at least will be equalized here. forZe. In it and 10 as they play out to their positions, and long control especially is the main central focus of the default.
Ooh, they're just going to gamble rotate A. They had an interesting setup there for Spirit where they had players in con and short water, but they are rotating pretty much the majority of players up to A. They've got a good read on this one.
Eagle tap in, Jerry. Finds his pick, open things up. AK back in with the likes of Flit, and SDY gets 2 of those kills. M4 involved, needing him to be a big fragger for his side. Jerry going to get that nade out to his position, might take him down. No, it misses out entirely, actually. Almazer and Jerry still get those kills on Mir and SDY. Magix and Dexter. Magix picks up the FAMAS, sees Almazer, gets a kill back to a 2 versus 2, forces that bomb planter off the bomb plant, sees him at the edge of the box. His damage done to his teammate as well. There's another kill for Magix as Dexter chimes in, and Spirit find the steal as they get to 11 on the CT board.
Oh, that is tough to watch. It's unfortunate because they just run into the stack, and that is always one very, very heavy price you play when you're going up against an anti-force bias. If you just run into the massive meat grinder of the CT side, so many players out. Miss nade bouncing off the skybox, trying to go back out to the truck position. Magix just getting away with so much, and the crossfire being set with Dexter too.
Nades on SDY. Backed up here into the lower con position. Jerry forces forward. Tropical looking the wrong way. Players have dived down. Damage has been done. SDY can finish off the kill onto Kenzie. And the nade close will not land towards Almazer, who's already made his way out. Dexter's shot misses out towards top of mid. But Almazer eventually falls to the sprays back on SDY's part. So 4 on 3, making it 2 as Mid's getting boosted up. Jerry getting caught for it. Zorti can find a response. But still a man advantage for Spirit.
Jeez, this is just chaos. It's just kills everywhere. Out on the map, we see the boost coming through from Mir, the bomb being picked up, looking to be leaned back over towards the B side. Flit really needs to be able to find a walk play because they're down in a 2v3. They need to even it up.
Sprays Flit. Smokes down. Nades in. Damage doesn't get returned here, but the blind fire past this smoke. Finally, Magix finds an angle to work with, and Flit to fall. Zorti to clutch. 1 on 3. Taps forward to the edge of the CTs. Can't see the headshot of the man. Spirit should be able to hold the crossfire here. They know exactly where this last player is. The rotation towards the A site is so far off the table. And yeah, Mir picking up the frag, picking up the AK. Spirit now, is this the moment where they start running away with things? They've had a really, really dominant CT half thus far. 5 rounds to the 1 of forZe, and another tactical is called in by the T's.
Hey, you've got to imagine that Endpoint are sort of on the edge of their seats, waiting to know who we're going to play. How do you even prep after watching this series? I'm sure that some of the guys from Endpoint probably watching the game, right? Trying to see what sort of intricate details they can see from either forZe or for Spirit. But you're right about this second half. It just seems that forZe have not been able to get involved. They've only managed 1 round. The economy has always been on the back foot for them. And for Spirit, they've got a very good chance of just being able to close just in terms of the momentum basis.
A half buy involved for this next round, 22. Sees Deagles. Kevlar and helmets with limited utility sets. Can't see a buyback in the next one here for the forZe camp of Spirit. Focusing on just edging their way closer and closer to the win. 4 rounds to get them to it. M4 burst through for SD White. Chopper finishes off the kill. Swinging out towards long, getting Almaza, kicking things off.
Well, this is quick. This is really pacey for the teams. They want to try and overwhelm the Orba. Flynn at least trades. SDY's on the edge of the smoke.
Denies that AWP for a second, but Jerry does find a responsive, so they can pick it right back up with M4s and everything. They'll grab the big green for Flit. Chopper held back to the front corner. Flit and Jerry have the rifles, make some noise, but Spirit happy to play passive in this.
They've got rifles they can work with, that M4 and that AWP, but it comes down to the decision-making. They've got some util. They've got a lot of time to work with. They can start playing some of the mind games with this silentness.
Reload in, smokes down. Boost up perhaps for the AWP. They're thinking about it. Go over towards the site, but they've cleared out the sight lines of Spirit. Give up nothing. The forZe. You won't get a thing out of them. 40 seconds. They have left the A site pretty open here. They've chopped it towards the back of bank. So in theory, forZe can walk in and just get the bomb plant.
And they're playing at retake basis on A for sure. They've got 2 on B. No, the A player plays passive. The last thing they want is for Chopper to take a fight, because that could just even it up to a 2v2.
Flash in, M4's out, smokes down, bomb plant will be secured. Incendiary's driving them out, the nades involved. In the midst of the smoke, they'll go for it. Spray lines up to get in, but just as the smoke goes down, the bomb goes down, I should say, Flit will still get caught by Magix. And it will be 13 for Team Spirit. They can't deny the bomb plant, but they can deny the round. There will be money involved for forZe though. More guns out for round 24.
You've still got to be happy with that for forZe, though. It's not a round in which you've got a lot of investment. You dropped a couple of those CT plays. You're able to get a bomb down. Only just, though. Really good utility usage there from Spirit, the way in which they put the Incendiary and the HG out to that truck position. And it just speeds to that 2v3. They're so pressured, aren't they? Because they want to get the bomb down, but they're panicking on the side.
Thirteen to 9. Spirit struggled throughout the course of this matchup thus far, but here on this third and final map, in touching distance of taking a series, a very long and arduous one, but one that gets them into the grand final, so be happy for the most part here. forZe however playing so much more of a careful default this time, giving nothing back to the Spirit side. It's passive from the CTs as well, so no picks for either team.
Zordy with the boost up isn't getting an angle out to the divider at all. There is a player close in for the bathrooms who is hearing some of these footsteps. That's SDY being able to relay the information.
Shots in of the AWP missing out. Chopper getting caught instead. SDY in the middle of the bathrooms, and Almaza just nonchalantly walking in. Out of the frag, the flashbang in as well, catching Zorty for blind. Not quite the kill. The AWP shot lands to the leg, but Zorty, his AWP shot connects to the kill. Nade's close towards Flit, should not be able to get the frag on against him, but Zorty does get caught, so it's a 3-on-3.
Oh, there is a long wrap coming through for the D side, but it all just comes down to the matter of timing, and Mir is starting to watch it, but he's going to start repositioning.
Flit's so low here. This can be an easy frag to drop the bomb. That's everything for Dexter. Switching out to the AK, and there's no backup to grab it in mid-control. 25 seconds for Kenzie and Jerry to go full send back into this position. Get back to the side! What the hell? Adjustment in against the second man, but not quite his third kill, and it's all on Jerry. 15 seconds to AWP. Dexter watching it. A flashbang might force him off position. The AK jumps around the corner, but Dexter holds his nerve and holds the line for 14 rounds of the CT side.
Oh, that was probably one of the sickest flicks we've seen in the entire best of 3, but it's still not enough for Kenzie to recover that round. He needs to follow up onto the AWP out into the bathrooms of Dexter, and it just doesn't happen. forZe, it feels as if these rounds are close. It feels as if they've gotten in, but they're just not getting the conversions, are they? They're not following up with the round victories, and because of that Spirit, they just keep adding more to their tally.
Rebuy back of forZe. Might be their last true gun investment here in this map up, unless they can get it together. 5 rounds behind Spirit. Conceded only 1 round thus far in this half, and that might be enough. Execution inbound to the T side. Almaza finds